Hello, hope everybody can hear me this evening. How's everybody doing? I hope great. This is a kind of a new little show we're doing here this evening. It's going to be kind of cool. This is the Enigma Recon. We've done these before, but it's going to be kind of the start of something different, start of something new. Gonna just kind of play it by ear, nonchalant. This is an update from KX doing whatever. It's actually to test a lot of the equipment on the stream, see how this rolls, how it goes. Take a look here, even see if I can see our own stream. So like I said, we're going to be winging a little bit of it. You pull in files, doing requests from people. I might take a call in or two from either some KX guys or whoever. Haven't really decided yet. We'll see. So let me test my stream and make sure we're flying right along here. This way I can see our comments too. You pull in files, doing requests from people. I might take a call in or two. Okay, it sounds like we might have a lot of echo. Not sure. You guys let me know if I've got echo, Robert. Okay, so we've got echo. I wonder where that's coming from. What about now? Let's see. Let me turn up. I can hear my own sound here. So, I'm not sure. Do I hear echo? Let me know if I've got echo, Robert. Okay, so we've got echo. I wonder where that's coming from. So we've got a whole bunch of new equipment and sound stuff running. Don't know why we would have echo, actually. See if that's any better, Digger Dog. I don't know how long this stream's going to take to get to you so you can get me word back. So hopefully, like I said, we're going to be troubleshooting this here for a minute and kind of see what goes on. See why we may have an echo. Aux audio is all the way down. Let's take a look at that. Bear with me here. I'm going to look at the properties on my mic settings and see where we are here. It's off. That's off. Those can. Okay. Looks like we've got two. Okay. I see. This might be it. So how are we sounding now? That might have done it. For some reason I had a host cam on along with my host audio. So Digger, give me a shout back and let's see if we're still getting that. I can't hear myself across this system, so thought I could if I switched over here, but apparently I could not. Let's see. A host cam on along with my host audio. So Digger, give me in here. Much better? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. So like I said, I hooked up so much new audio stuff today and just jamming around. So I could do, I could do all kinds of cool little deals like a crow. I don't know if you guys got that or not. So anyway, just for audio testing and whatnot. But so now I can take call-ins on my cell phone or whatever, and we should be able to also do collab cams. That has not been tested. I don't know if we'll try that or not. So like I said, most off, this was a an update about what's going on with us. Should be able to bring up files like that now, video like that now. And I thought we could probably go over some of the more recent Intuition Point treasure cache area and what's going on there, because a lot of stuff that had never made it to video. We can talk about that. And then as well, I kind of might want to hear from my buddy Ron Castner if he shows up in here, or even Jerry Willis, and we can talk potentially. I might call them, and we could potentially talk about some of the upcoming plans and projects I've got going with those guys. So, and they're related. They're things like we're going to do well, for one, Ron and I are going to be hitting the Lodge kill zone and stuff, hopefully this October if we can pull it off. Got to bring a lot of people, a lot of plans together to make things happen sometimes. But we're also, in spite of that, we're going to be doing, at the request of people through Ron, we're going to be taking people out into the field for a charge, and it's good. They wanted to do it, and I'm game because we can sure use the support. Never going to make much probably off of it, but it gives a chance to have kind of an exclusive rapport with the populace, and they can get a firsthand grip on a little bit of the deeper stuff than we usually show in the video. Yeah, Ranger Ron, Digger. And so anyway, and then as well with Jerry Willis, I'll be taking a group out. This is very custom interpreted tour. This one does cost. It's going to be in cooperation with Jerry's tour and members and things like that. And there will be some openings. It's going to be pretty exclusive. And I think we're going to do around, I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk when we get to the people. But, it's going to be reasonable, but it's going to be a walk where we'll do few miles in a day, and we're going to be reviewing an entire glyph area, and I'll be doing the interpretation showing the heroes that showed up there with the using the staff of Hermes, actually. So this goes way back into the Middle East area and whatnot, in the ancient history of all the Fertile Crescent and all that. And so, but it goes all the way up to where he came in a craft and he slew the dinosaurs, and there's stories of drama and whatever, but it's all in rock script all over the place. And so I'll be leading a tour of people going through that and deciphering that for them and showing them those glyphs. And then we have another like site that we're trying to set up that I have shown in videos with the Reptoid guys and stuff, and that's a lot more in-depth site as well than what's ever been publicly shown. So and potentially even like the location with the polygonal stuff from our last Intuition or Treasures of Intuition Point videos. Maybe doing some of that as well. And so anyway, get these guys on here. If we can get them on, we can do some talking with them or whatever, and get everyone up to date. And so something I did want to share, though, is it's probably only minutes left here. We'll take a look. So the hat in the link, the hat that's on there right now, that was done as a fundraiser. So we could try to raise enough funds. We have enough funds to make the Moon Lake Gathering, which is not a paid event. That is a free event to the public, and so we have to get our own way up there, whatever. And so to help out that, we did a little fundraiser, and as well to cover ongoing exploration stuff, if anything extra. But it says we have an hour to go. I'm going to refresh it here. So literally, if you were interested in having one of these hats, and these are the hats that we wore as a crew and a team for real during a treasure dig called Run for the Hills. And that's what coined it. And they were never produced after that dig. This is what only the crew got. A lot of people have seen photographs of them and said, hey, I want one of those. Unfortunately, not a lot of people signed up for the fundraiser when we did it. And they were 40 bones a hat. And which was a really good deal because they were going to charge us up to $150 if we made a single hat. It's up to $125 just for setup fee and digitization, which nowadays is what. And but anyway, so we couldn't afford to necessarily put hats out for people. They're going to pay $150 a hat. And so this way, at $40 a hat, everybody can get one. If we get 12 made, basically we can. It doesn't cost us anything to have them embroidered and set up and all that, and then everybody gets a hat. So right now we're 2 back. So we need to sell 2 more of these through the link that's in the description. It says get the hat. And then we can get 2 of those more gone within the next half hour or whatever our time limit is. And then that will finish our campaign. That'd be great. More than that would be awesome, but that would be great. And I want to say thanks to Jerry Willis big time, because he popped in with this deal and made that happen for us. So he gave us a pretty good contribution. I really appreciate it. Jerry's a great guy, co-researcher, wonderful guy. So let me get in here. I'm going to look. You on Friday having surgery replaced ankle. Man, Digger, that's rugged. Yeah, that's really rough. Sorry to hear that, bud. I don't want to hear that. That's horrible. But, I mean, it happens. It is what it is, right? So wish you best of luck. Prayers up to you, buddy. That goes well. So as far as also I want you guys to know something else. So YouTube, and I mean it's just the way they are. YouTube has been removing subscribers and this and that. And I could actually show you files at some point or another where people have written in, and we screenshot it, where they've, the last one just the other day said, it's in a comment on one of our recent videos, says that they've been removed from the sub list 14 times, that they had to go, and this is the 14th time they've had to resubscribe. They just keep getting removed. And we're approaching 10,000 subs right now. So anybody that sees this, you need to go check your sub right away. Boom, boom, make sure notifications up and all that. Because if the ratio at what they're removing versus what we're getting, we would be 150, 200,000 subs right now. Because they're literally removing that many. This guy's been removed 14 times, and we're approaching 10,000 right now. So you can do the math. But I think it'd be a really outstanding thing if you guys go check your subs, share this stuff, get people to sub to this, and help us push over 10K. That would be absolutely awesome. So in the link below, though, there's, because of all that, we have to serve. We've not been a YouTube partner program affiliate for, well, we've been on here since 2010, 2011, whatever. We've got 100% clear, green, never had a mark against us. We pay for copyright material. We do all that stuff. Everything's green and go. We've written a dozen times about why we're not joining, but the system will not allow us. And we've gone back and forth through AdSense and through Google, and their own engineers have told us that they've taken it upstairs, and we're basically told not to change it, don't mess with it. Personally, they've dug through the stuff and written us, said they can't figure out why that our system doesn't allow the monetization. Now, how weird is that? But we have letters, we have all that correspondence and all that to prove that. But the point being is that we've had to try to circumvent that. So like most content creators do get some type of compensation for the work, especially when they're out in the field like we are, and then trying to pull all this nasty off. And so we've gone to Streamlabs because, for one, they let you do super high quality streams. You can put anything in the world on there you want to, just like what we're doing right now. Gives us, a great resource to run videos, do whatever we want to do. Now we've got the computers that will handle all this, no problem. Then, the next step is to do it. So we're using Streamlabs as well because they provide a full platform for funding, donation, tips, live tips during the stream. So if someone was to go in the stream right now, and if you were to subscribe, it should show up on the screen. It should say your name and who's subscribed. Matter of fact, it would look, I believe I can do it even. It would look a lot like this. So I'm not sure if there's any audio came across with that. I didn't get any. But that's what happens. And then it's also tied in. Same thing if you go to our merch link with Streamlabs. Whoever bought a shirt, it's going to show up on there that they bought a shirt right on the screen and all that. So Streamlabs lets you do all kinds of things. You can get away and circumvent YouTube when they won't let you into the partner program. So I would encourage everybody. And also, I think you could go, if you go there right now, if you click that link, you can watch this over the screen that it takes you to. And then it lets you interact in a chat that shows up on the screen here. Instead of in the sidebar, it shows up right on the screen. It should let you do a bunch of things that show up when you interact, if you view this through their link. And I think that's how it works. So you guys a couple of you might want to try that and just see how it looks, how it goes. So other than that, we can go on and get into the updates, not to drag any feet here or anything for anybody. Intuition Point is a super unique place. I didn't know Don Cook. If any of that's coming across glitchy, let me know, because in spite of all the stuff we're running, it shouldn't make any difference to the stream. So this software handles all that. So if it's not glitching on my screen, you should be able to see what is basically on your it mirrors my screen right now. So let me know if it looks bad quality or anything like that, you guys can compare. Let's see. I'm just reading back through some of the live chat here. Now, a lot of you guys aren't going to be able to see the live chat if you're watching this on TV or some of the other deals, or before the chat shows up. Once the video's over, chat doesn't play the chat doesn't show for a while. So if that occurs to you, then just know that when I look away and I'm over here, I'm reading the live chat as we go, which hopefully people will be encouraged to run through the Streamlabs system, and then we can see these chats right on the screen, I believe. Or I think that's the way it works out. So anyway, Intuition Point. It's a very unique location. I call it Intuition Point because it's one of the rare ones that I didn't necessarily find the spot through interpretation before I started working on it. I actually basically intuitively looked at a spot, and I guess maybe collectively from years of experience and doing it, maybe, has a lot to maybe do with that or whatever. But I looked at an area and a spot and it looked foreign. It didn't make a lot of logical sense to me. I went down and ran a detector over it and got an outrageous. It wasn't super hard to hit, but it was big and broad and strange. And as I moved a little bit of material, it became an outrageous hit. And when you're running a metal detector, they run ferrous and non-ferrous. So ferrous is anything that self-emits a magnetic field once you energize it. So if you take a nail or any piece of iron, you hit it with a radio frequency, just about any, it'll cast a secondary field. That's a hot target. That's ferrous. So anything that contains iron, for example. Now, what doesn't is gold, silver, lead, and other metals like this, copper. Now they do hold electrons at different rates, which can give you almost what appears to be a secondary energized field, but it's not a holding magnetic field. So doing scanning technologies, we look at these things when we do geomagnetics, we do passive geomagnetic mapping. We look at these things and how they blow off with the Earth's magnetic field, or they energize and puff up. In this case, we have basic discrimination on the first metal detector. It eliminates iron. They're Mind Lab equipment. They're very, very, very good because it's a multi-frequency detector. I think this runs 17 frequencies. And then it analyzes those and it figures out what iron is or different alloys of iron, and it ejects that. It has 4 stages of that basically. And at the top stage is basically gold. Also lead and potentially silver shows up in those ranges. But people don't bury and put death traps on over lead. So they might have lead in there, but regardless, what happens is when we run on a target and we set it to the highest point of discrimination, it knocks off everything else. Everything else goes out the window. Boom, boom, boom. So like I could have a 300-pound steel manhole cover and put a gold nugget under. I could still pick up the nugget and not even hear the manhole cover. On that setting, this thing skyrockets. And it does it only a specific angle in the hole, which tells me a couple things with the way it's hitting. There's iron down there, and there is something that's non-ferrous that is considerable. Because the depths I'm hitting these things at, handheld detectors only get 18 inches, 20 inches generally, even the good ones. So to be able to hit through a couple of feet of packed blue clay and then hit through sandstone is pretty incredible. I mean, at those levels, it becomes overkill. I mean, so what I mean to say that is it's more than just ounces. You're into pounds at that point. And so I'm gonna actually open a file here on some of the recent stuff we've been doing and just kind of look at some pictures that nobody has had a chance to see before. And I believe, let's see, this takes a second. We're right in here somewhere. Let these pictures load. So one of the things that's out there that I didn't get really a chance to show anybody yet is a signature, and I'm sure it has to do with this specific location, but it is maybe a mile from it or something like that. We were made aware of the signature before I ever went out and found this cache location, but I was not shown it or shown where it was or anything like that. Just a general area, 50 square miles, something like that. And so let me go ahead and bring up just the inscription, I guess, and then we'll throw in, let me get it out of my way where it's not bugging me here. And so what we're looking at here, oh wow, there's a hat. Hold on, I'll get rid of that. I can do that. Under photos, how's that? Sweet. Okay, what we're looking at here is a photograph. I can bring it up, I can move it over and put it back where it should be. Sorry about that. These are kind of complicated. I don't have a fancy producer, so what we get is what we get here. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll toss it all the way over here. So this looks like it says Fred Otto, basically. And it does not say Fred Otto. But I do want you to point out right away, as there's symmetry. I think we got capture the cursor. I hope we could see my cursor on there. If not, I do have another little trick here. Just bear with me seconds. That should show up. Oh, there it is. Okay, so this little guy here. So this F, you'll notice all these letters have symmetry. So the top line across the top is all about the same. Same thing across the bottom. There's a lot of effort went into making an arc. It's a big arc, a shallow arc. And at the same time, the F is not in that line. So the F is raised a little bit. It's angled slightly. It's not correct. And what this is this little bar is sitting at an angle. And what we call is a pull sign when we get that. And it lines up exactly with the little extension off the R here. And I could probably zoom into that for us. Like that. And then I could take this and pull it around. So this, where this goes here, this R lines up with that bar. That's at an angle. So that's giving us a direction. And there's drainages, river bottoms, and things like that that are out there that, and there's one actually quite close. It's dry naturally, but R usually, oh, we don't want to move that. That's the wrong thing to move. R usually stands for Rio or river. Okay, and then E would be east. The 0 or the D would normally be, D would stand for like a cave or a crescent, something like that. And then next to that, though, it's super, super interesting because we've got what looks like, let me get this where I want it here. Oh, sorry about that. It's hard to kind of grab what I'm supposed to grab here. Kind of complicated. Okay. So this is larger than anything else. And I don't think this is a letter form. I think it's beyond that. I just don't believe that's a letter form. But generally, the T's would be T for Tobias, which actually means retain your guardian angel. And it comes from a story in the Bible regarding Tobias and the guardian angel. And then the 0 is normally 100, could mean water, because water came first, basically. And then the dot usually also can mean 100, 1,000. So it's interesting that they're using an O and a dot at the same time right next to each other. And to note is that the word Fred, we think, oh, well, that's a pretty modern name. Fred's a very ancient name. And you can see here that we have all throughout this, we have lichen growth. And the dark areas, the dark patches are lichen. And there's more growing in the cuts than there is even out here on most of the surface of the rock. And that really tells me that this is hundreds of years minimum old. None of these lichens in this part of the country grow fast at all. It's like the surface of Mars. And they just don't. So all in all, what we see here puts it to a very, very early date, the form and everything else. So if we look at the word Fred and we go from early date, in the ancient Germanic is where it comes from. And it actually meant positive ruler or peaceful king, or whatever. But it's in regards to the king or the ruler. And so this immediately tells us this is a claimant. So this is the same thing as a stamp on a bar that says that's the king's fifth. It's the king's stamp. This is the king's whatever. And literally in the center of this could be a large O, but it would have significance. It could be an area. It could mean surround. And there can also be small pull signs that we can't see here because this is ancient and it's very, very old. We need to do a better study of the glyph. But regardless, it's exactly what we expect to see. And everything from the word Fred being used to the layout. And this is the same also. If you notice, we have a video called the 77 Mules to Treasure, I believe. And no, it's not in the description, but you can go to our channel and find it real easy. And anyway, that one has another signature that's a lot like this in code. And this would be their third or fourth one directly that I've worked in the same general area within 100 miles. And they're all done the same way, basically. And they're tricky and they're complex. And you'll see in 77 Mule Loads, that one there, they're complex. They're using every trick in the book on these maps. But this one, Intuition Point, I just may have possibly actually discovered the cache without finding that. So we'll see. And, that'll take me, I'll go ahead and we'll pull up another shot of this thing and see which direction we're supposed to proceed here to get a look at it. But what I want you to do is I want you to see the placement of it. And I guess this is a good one for that. So you can see here, we've got these, oops, again, come on, give me that circle back, baby. Okay, so we can see these rocks, and then back here you can make out the thread of the inscription. And yeah, it's not little. I mean, it's feet long. It's like 12, 14 inches tall. It's very large. Somebody spent quite a significant amount of time chiseling this into the rock. And then you've got these three light rocks that obviously don't go here. A rock has to come from somewhere. They don't fall out of the sky. And they don't fall out of the sky in a set of three, sitting in a triangle. So this is information. And generally, three rocks in a triangle, if they're this close together, it's going to mean this is a survey point. So using triangulation. So this would be a point on a template, perhaps. A template being a form, maybe like a cross or whatever. I could probably show you real quick. So a template would look something like, well, it'd be like let's say the cross the Templars use, right? You guys can see that cross? Yeah, you can see that. Okay, and then there'd be what would be called a house here on each one of these. Okay. Now you guys get to learn something. All right. Now and then you got a center point here. Now everything is going to work off like a radial. And you've seen these diagrams on TV where they find these rocks like this, and then they've got these lines like spider webs, right? And then they have divisions on those spider webs at different points. Okay, those are radial template maps. This is also a radial template map. All you got to do is match the points of the houses and draw the circle and then draw lines out. Now, but this doesn't work without this. You got to understand. Because if I draw a line across here like that, okay, it doesn't touch that corner. But when I get on site and find the proper point of perspective to break the template, which is in the middle, when I look across this specific line, it'll look across a rock or something like that. And that's how I actually establish this. Generally, on the southernmost tip down here, you're going to have an anchor symbol, like something like that. Or it could be one of the other anchor forms, a J and things like that. And then on this corner, that's right on this corner here, right there on that corner. And then on this corner, you're going to have a circle, just a circle. Now, now you might see where I'm going with this. Because what do we have between the Fred and the TTO? Okay, and it's telling us with these three rocks to triangulate, use a survey, use a template. Okay, likely is that O is this O marking this corner of the overall template. All I need to find to break this, even if it's 5 miles across, is that anchor. If I can find that anchor, I can measure this out from above on the ground, and I'll already know the scale and size just from these 2 points. That's all I gotta get. Okay, so understanding that, I still need information though, because I have to get to the center, and then I need to go map where monument points are from here, and then put that on a radial, set it to get where my dig sites are. That's how this stuff works. So the other day I had a comment from someone that said, like happy hunting nails or whatever, collecting nails. And that person doesn't understand that a single nail can break a template map that has been well looked for perhaps thousands of years, hundreds of years commonly. There's tons of stuff out there that a single point of evidence can tell you a time frame. Using that time frame gives you information. That information can then set you on a path to discover more things, if you kind of get my gist. So here we're going to get a little closer look at the three rocks. And you can see, they're laid out in a basic triangle. And the whole point is we're not measuring off these things. It doesn't matter if they're in a perfect triangle. What if a buffalo had come by and kicked one, whatever. People are not dumb. It's telling what it's telling you is to use the triangulation method. It could even be there's a large rock triangle here. It's there's different things, but the 0 in between the name that we've got is likely to be that corner of that template marker, if you're kind of following me there. So I'll kill that one. We'll dig back through. There's also a very, very interesting kind of deal here where there's these large boulders, sandstone boulders above the riverbed. And we have right on this face of this one is a symbol or like a glyph of a fish. Okay, and we can, take a quick look at that. It's kind of wild because I have all these windows open doing this. It'd be crazy if I had a producer to help out with this. I was bugging the kid about that, like, hey man, you should be my producer. So I can't really see these images well. We'll bring one up and we'll see how it looks and we'll take a look. But I guess this is not too bad. You can kind of see what we're looking at here. So there we go. Right here is a glyph of a fish. Okay, and it's got kind of pretty little fan tail on the bottom there, but it's a general of a fish. And it's just one of the ways that they're communicating to you. And for one, this is downstream. Now, whenever they use animals, what they're generally telling you is habits of animals. And it could be dates, it could be time of year, it could be direction, it could be the habits where a fish always faces away from its nest, let's say, on guard. So if the fish is facing this way, then what your object of focus would be then to the left, to the direction of the fish's tail out this side. Or whatever. But I want to mention, though, that, let me see if I can bring up another one. We could see this side of the rock face here. Kind of close. So we have this main face behind these boulders, and you can't see any of this from the front. And you can't even really tell there's a flat pad here because it's just a big cliff. And you drop down in behind these boulders, and the fish is right here on this big one with a tail that direction. And found something really super interesting in the cliffside, and never quite seen anything quite like it before. Kind of blew my mind when I first spotted this. And you could see kind of in the center here where, well, for one, this almost looks like the face of a whale. And you can see right here what looks like maybe an eye. And this little deal in the middle is a little chunk of iron. It's about 4 inches deep into the rock. And it's kind of mind-blowing. Bring up a little closer shot for us. So this is it right here. And this is the back of it. And then I guess all this cupping or whatever, it almost looks like it happened during an impact where you'd say, well, this is a bullet. But there's 0 deformation, and this thing punched 5 inches, 6 or more to the tip would be a lot deeper than that. So, but the back of it's 4 inches deep. So, and then we also researched bullets and could not find one that, let's see, we'll go to a little closer shot here. So I couldn't find one that was like this per se. Well, I get my red circle back. Thank you. So what we'll see is the rear edge here, absolutely perfect. The taper's steeper, a little steeper than I've seen on any bullet yet. And then the back is not open. And even the full metal jacket armor piercing rounds all had an open back to a little bit softer core. And this doesn't appear to have that. It's actually kind of mind-blowing. If we really look at it, I don't know what this is, you know, and the way it's in the stone and how tight it's fused in there, like I said, and it's right behind this fish glyph from 400 years ago. So it's kind of like, go figure. I have really no clue what to expect from that at all. I really don't, you know. So yeah, that's pretty amazing stuff, at least on that end of it. And these are things that will be brought to light, you know, on future videos. We'll get with it. But I'm gonna go ahead and let's zoom into some of the comments here. Hello, well, I can never be able to catch up with this. So, Rob will grab a hat, buddy. Well, Don, I think we're probably already after the time, because Don Cook, he said he's going to get a hat, but I cannot till this Friday. Well, I hate to say it, that deal was ending, but you're welcome to use the link that's in the description of the video. And we do have other hat designs. There's a couple that are really super cool. We may be doing an edition of this one again. Like right now, I said we did it for a fundraiser. If you're interested, I could probably go ahead and order you one. And then if you want to get back with me, I can put up my email. If you want to get back with me, you can hit me up and you can just order one directly from me. So Bigfoot World sent me. Oh yeah, Duke sent you. So Grandizer, you sent over here from World Bigfoot Central. That's awesome. And hi Duke, I think I see you in here. I haven't answered the phone lately. Sorry, buddy. Been crazy. You know I get. No offense, man. Hope you don't take any. Let's see here. Ranger Ron, hello all. Hope you're still in here, Mr. Ron. I was gonna potentially have you give me a call here in a little bit, and we'll see if we can get the call-in feature working properly, and we can do a little talking about what we've got kind of going on here in the near future. If I miss anybody, I'm sorry. I'm having to go through these pretty dang quick here. Oh, you hear there's still an echo, Master of Reality. There should not be an echo anymore. So if there is, you guys let me know. And we're gonna have to play with it. What you're hearing is, let's see if that helps. We're hearing a whole effects board over here that I got wired in, that you shouldn't be necessarily hearing, but we'll get it figured out. Hopefully it's not too bad. All right, Ron, is that, yeah, I guess you just heard me. That's sick. Sweet. Like I said, this is a weird system because usually I have a back feed of some type of something, you know, some type of sound, and I have nothing coming through on the backside. So it's one of those things. Oh, sounds good there, man. That works great. Excellent. No echo here. Excellent. Perfect. Thanks, you guys. And then Duke, later on, after I've talked to Ron and we get the stuff that we're supposed to deal with out of the way, I might want to hear from you if you're up and active and doing your thing. Let me kill my red circle, and then we'll kind of move on to something else here. Yeah. I got to make sure I don't shut off my streaming window. So got to be kind of careful. I have a lot open right now. It's hard to believe the system will run all this. I'm super stoked with the used computer I bought called it's a Hewlett-Packard Z620. It's kind of an industrial workstation. And I've never seen a computer before this big that didn't have any space inside. You can't slip your hand in it. I'm running 32 gigs of RAM. It'll run over 300 gigs of RAM. So, yeah. The graphics card isn't quite what I'd want. It's a pretty light graphics card for what it is. We're going to up that eventually as well. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Okay. So we're going to reopen our deal. So some of the other information, some of the other stuff going on with that site. We can get into a few photographs that nobody's got a chance to look at yet, and you guys can jam on that. Well, one, I guess you might have seen them quickly. We can do real fast. Is the artifacts that have been recovered so far. And this one is super duper cool. So this is the steel chisel, and it's an amazing piece. Really an amazing piece. It's heavy as hell because the alloys they use, And they were nuts. They would put they could lead, gold, even ground up gemstones and put them in the layers. I mean, they would do all kinds of really weird things, like Area 51 crap for these guys. And so the priests are always using really exotic alloys, and that's what we find in these. And that's why you can take one like this and it won't be patinaed really much at all. I mean, maybe, a little, but you can see the original black from the forge. And then this is just a little bit of scale on it. And, most modern iron and even steel, 400 years out in these conditions, and the stuff's gone, right? I mean, it'll flake up and build out and blow out, and it'll just come apart. This stuff will be good in 1,000 years. You'll still use this tool. It's amazing. It's probably real high in phosphorus or something like that. Is the reason it doesn't internally degrade. But a lot of times we've even seen where they've contained iridium, and they're not made from meteorites. But there's also local iridium in the areas we've seen it. So we don't know if it's on purpose or a side additive from part of the manufacturing process, or what that might be exactly. We don't know. So this is something really cool too, and this is really, I think, tells more about the site than anything we found so far. And it's looks kind of inconspicuous. It's no big deal. But this is the tip of a crossbow bolt. And not many people, by the time they got here, not many even Spaniards and conquistadors were carrying crossbow tips this old, this far north, because everything had to come up out of Mexico. This is when they were chasing down the Aztecs, trying to figure out where they buried all the damn gold. And it's a neat piece. The end, I got some other pictures here. Man, let's take a look at them because it is super cool. The end of this thing, let me bring up the photo so I can kind of play with it a little bit. So the end of this thing is looks blunt on the tip, but it isn't. As you can see in this picture here, it's folded over from hitting something like sand, maybe, but a high velocity. To have curled that all the way back like that. Pretty damn high velocity. And the back of the piece, I don't know if I've got, yeah, we got one here. So the back of the piece is actually kind of open. And if we look, oops, get back over here. Don't know why that happens. Tough to just grab my circle. So back here is actually 2 layers. And this little point here is the inside, or the side facing us. And this folded part is the other side. So it used to be hollow. And then this would have gone onto a hardwood shaft. Actually, sometimes even metal shafts when they want to put some weight behind them. But if you look really close on the edge here, you'll see small, what look like serrations. And that's from somebody filing this thing sharp. You bet you. And they left those serrations in the surface of it, which is super, super cool. Telling you, I could actually shut my stream off. Let's hope I don't do that. And then just to show, I'll bring up a picture of the chisel in situ. So it's just a better picture overall. Kind of really gives you an idea of how it was formed and how accurate it was formed. And this tip that we see here, this was done in a stamp forge. And you can see this thing's had a lot of wear. It's been beat up. It's had a lot of wear to it. But if we look at the back, what's interesting about it is this whole surface is mushroomed out. Now that does not happen in a new piece. When they're delivered, they're straight at the back. That happens from repeatedly beating it. And then for later reference as well, when you watch the videos, I'm finding little chips of iron or steel every once in a while in really diverse locations. And what those chips are is as this flours out, it splits. And eventually those little split floured out pieces break off. And they collect them if they can find them because they're going to go back to get for remelt. So these things show up basically. But what we can tell by this is when we look at it, is this has been hit repeatedly. This has had a hard life. This steel is not soft stuff. This isn't like a chunk of iron you grab in your garage. This is extremely hard steel. And they beat this already a lot. But again, if we go over and look at the tip, and really no matter how far we're going to go and look at this tip, it's sharp. I mean, it's really sharp. And it's perfect. And there's no deformation. There's not even a scratch in that surface. Okay, and the reason is what we're looking at here. The reason it's like that is because it has gone back to a forge, and or to a stamp, and it's been re-sharpened, or they've had a new point put on it. And particularly in this example, what we see is these large flat faces here, like on top and on the front here. And this one goes all the way back to here. And that's from a stamp forge. So these were big wooden machines. And they were like a stamp mill for processing, crushing stone ore. And they ran on a big water wheel. And then this drove a big, like a log, like a 2-3 foot thick log for an axle. And then they had logs through that. And then those were on big uprights, and they'd put steel plates on the bottom. And these things would hit. Every time a cam would go around, they'd hit. And whatever was under them, they could hit it with like 5 tons of force. And so they used these for forges as well. And so they would stamp forge these metals to compress them tight and make layers and layers and layers and stamp forge them. And then, but it was time to retip like this. They had angle blocks and angle heads, and they would just retip the thing at one time, boom, like this, and put a brand new edge. And what happened was this piece is actually lightly curved. And we can see that. Let's see if we have a photo that shows, yeah, right here. So we can see that in this picture that has a heck of a curve to it. And you can kind of see it here. And what that is from stamping. This last stamp right here was the last hit. And anybody knows if you take a nail and set it on the side, even if it's totally flat on concrete, and you let the little head hang over or something, or get a totally round nail, you hit it, it's going to raise up on both sides. It's just the way it works. This is that last hit on the forge. That's what happens. It actually been, and they left it because it's ergonomic. It doesn't hurt the function of it at all. It's not a big deal. Most of these are held by a big set of tongs, type of sort of thing. Hey, there's a cat. Can't have my coffee. So, but anyway, most of these things are held by a big set of tongs by one guy and then hit with a 20-pound sledge by another guy. And so they're basically 3 people operation to run a chisel properly, I should say. So what else we got here in this one? There was something else, a little detail here that I didn't show and wasn't going to show it to anybody in any videos, productions. It's kind of hard to describe and whatnot, but I think, and I might even have to move on because I have a picture of what it is there's a rock with a hole in it. And suspiciously, we've been finding other examples that look identical to the rock with the hole in it, but in weird places. One was very small and another's medium-sized. And I'm sure I have the pictures of that set with the hole in it here. I'm going to try to find them. Looking through files. Welcome to Enigma Recon. So I believe it's in this one. Nope, it's not in that one. Oh, there it is, this one. Okay, so, and that's this big rock right here with the hole in it. That hole. And what's freaky, and you can see in the beginning of, I think, part 3, in the very beginning, there's a small rock that's identical to this in size and ratio and hole and everything, found on part of the trail on the way in. And then we have another one that's standing up basically behind a set that Tara's standing in front of in part of a video, and it matches it as well. And so these are the kind of things they would do. They were known for that squirrely, really squirrely, off the wall, hidey hole riddles and whatever, things that would take you years or a lifetime to figure out. They just got off on that. They know that another priest wouldn't even bother with most of it because you can find this stuff without even having to go to that extent. This cat's just loving me up over here as we do this, right? That's Buddy. He's super cool. He's one of the strays that was born outside. And he's laying on our sound board, so don't shut us off, buddy. Okay. So I hope you guys are finding some of this entertaining. Now, this last day we were out was pretty crazy. The stuff that was out there is nuts, and we get into kind of this, and that's the polygonal looking masonry or natural feature or whatever in the world it is. So, I mean, you're really going to shut us off, buddy, if you don't quit that. You're nuts. So, like I said, we don't know for sure exactly what this is or what did this. Now, if it was in basalt or something like that, maybe, but these are not columns. This is not columnar basalt. It's something else, basically, and I don't know really what in the world could possibly cause it. That's a cool picture, but that's not what we were going to look at next. So let me go and take another look here. There we go. Another shot that we have in beginning with our insignia now, but yeah, the symmetry to this stuff is kind of mind-blowing. It just is. You know, if you look at the angle, you know, at this arc is very, very equal. This line's nice and straight. The distance between that one and that one, if it's squared, and that one if it's squared, has a lot of mathematical symmetry to it. The length of this line versus this line, and just the angles coming off are super, super close. I don't know what to say. I'm not gonna say in a million years that this thing, what we're looking at there, is abnatural or made by man. But I mean, it certainly could be. Overall, I mean, we don't know what happens in the ancient past and ancient history. I do know that this rock that we're looking at is supposed to be somewhere around 300 million years old. So that will tell us alone that this should not be made by man. Of course, it may be just in this area and have been later installed and built in this area. And again, you can see here, it's almost like a chain link fence. And the vertical lines here, whether we're looking at this one at the top up here, this vertical, or this one, are literally in line with each other. And these aren't the only two. This, if you go look at the last video we put up, part 4, this repeats itself. It's across the whole face like this. So it's, to me, I mean, really, it's kind of utterly mind-blowing of how in the world that particular thing occurred. And I was going to see if I had a static shot of that entire outcrop, and I don't know if I ever took one of that or not. Let me see what this is. Nope, that's just me. Let's see. Here's an interesting shot. Yeah, these are pretty cool pictures because they're using symbolism. And this is, if this stuff looks like kind of Fred Flintstone crap, well, that's because exactly what it is. This is old stuff. Like potentially unbelievably old, like maybe thousands of years, 8,000 years old, something like that, potentially. And they were using several animal forms that some of the animals do not exist anymore. This was probably something like a sloth or something like that. Heavy erosion has taken place. But this triangle in the rock with a hole in it that looks like a mouth would generally mean down to the right. And that's exactly where you go here to get to an ancient camp of sorts. And this would tell you it looks like a shelter, but it's too small. So this could potentially be saying below, down, or there's shelter, hard rock shelter, down and to the right. Now, a triangle also stands for supported entrance or tunnel, and it has long before any written language, way before they wrote any symbols or wrote any language, they were doing this. So how far back? I don't know. They know there was people here 20,000 years ago. Those people had identical brains to the brains we have today. So to think that they didn't dream up a way of writing in a way. So everything we see here is animals, usually. And the habits and traits of the animal would normally be what defines what you're looking at. So if I see a land tortoise, for instance, and his head's out and his feet are all in, I know he's looking for somewhere to go. It's time to look and pay attention if you're on the trail and you see that. If he's got all his legs out, they're all even, It's time to cruise the distance he's looking because he's already figured out where he's supposed to go. If it's a soft shell water type turtle, then I already know that there's a potential air shaft near me. If he has his head stretched up straight, then the shaft's primarily open, just top's closed. If the head's pulled in, I know that the air shaft's been backfilled. But I know that it's an air shaft because a soft-shell turtle represents a main body down below and a long neck to the surface to air hole. So each animal has its specific traits. A turtle dove, a stone turtle dove looks like a stone turtle dove. Might even be able to, I don't know in this computer, maybe I'll show one in another deal. But regardless, so if you see a stone turtle dove and its wings hanging down, has a few tail feathers over its wing, well, that's what real turtle doves do on the ground to lead you away from their nest. So if I see one of these made out of stone, I already know to follow the tail because it's trying to lead me away from its eggs, away from its value. Okay, so these are the way they're used. Eagles. Eagle's another thing. People see an eagle and think, oh, John, and things like that. But it's not necessarily like that because eagles were used thousands and thousands of years before the stories with John and things like that in them. But still up to the left, if it's above you, is usually correct. But normally if it's an eagle, means misrepresenting trail. So because the eagle isn't flying toward home, the eagle's flying toward somewhere else. He's flying aimlessly. He's misleading. He's going all over the place because the eagles do that as they glide. They glide everywhere, not just from point A to point B. And so that aspect in regards to misleading trail, so it could take you to anywhere, but it's not going to take you where your focus of interest is. So when you see big stone eagle heads and things like this, it's generally looking at a misleading monument. You may have a huge white wedge or something very impressive and definitely man-made, and then follow the wedge, and it might go to another monument. Sure enough, they'll lead you many miles away from the cache as they can. When what the eagle's telling you is, yes, I'm looking at a monument, but I'm misleading you at that monument. Look for hidden markers, things that only an eagle's eye can see. You understand? So all this aspect of the animal nature is what's being applied when we go read these large monumented sites. Now, it's time that archaeology catches up to some of this because the Aztecs were doing it. It was been done all over the world. It's done in Africa, and I know because I've led people on the phone who are following monument to monument based on my descriptions and whatever of what they're seeing. They tell me what they're seeing over the telephone. I tell them where to go from that monument to the next monument. And so if they tell me, oh, I see a big land tortoise. Well, I know what a land tortoise is. I ask them the details. So how is it positioned? Where is its head? What's it doing? Then I tell them what to do. They make it to the next monument. They call me back. They're all amazed. How in the world? Oh my God, you're clairvoyant. Well, clairvoyance might have something to do with it, but not necessarily, because once you learn what's being applied, it works all over the world. And it's not to be scoffed at because, anyone in the sciences or in academia can certainly absolutely say, where's your proof, your evidence? But they cannot see that without following the sign in the field with me. There's no way I can say, oh, this picture led to that, led to that, to that. They don't see the choreography and how these things are related. And you can't even put it across on a video. How am I supposed to follow a trail for 25 hours and then make an hour-long video? Or is the guy going to sit there and watch 25 hours of video? Who's going to do that? So it becomes where there's a little bridge we need to gap here. Some of this through repetition should be self-evident. And then when you find things at the end that are supposed to not exist, such as, like there's artifacts sitting here next to me on the table. These are not supposed to necessarily exist. It's like some of the tools we have only are featured in D-Ray Metallica from France, 1541. They've never been seen anywhere else. Why do we have them, but they don't exist in Europe, in France, for instance? But we have them in our stock, and they're here in the middle of nowhere where there's no mining country, there's no animal husbandry, there's none of that going on. And that's why they're here, because there's no reason for anyone else to have ever been over here. Let alone that this valley was considered off limits by the natives for about 8,000 years. That was told to me by an Apache. So an Apache elder who's from the surroundings of this and knew not to come here. They said this was home of Medicine Rock and it was home of the little people. And it was somewhere that if you went into, you did not come back out. And literally in the archaeological history, you can see that represented because there's no one here between 8,000 years, 6,000, 8,000, up to about 300 years ago. There's just nothing here. There's no dwellings. There's no pueblos, even though there was game, rivers, great shelter rock and great places to be. So it's interesting you tie all this kind of stuff together, who was doing what over these time spans. It kind of mind-blowing. Let me get back into now. Let's address a few of the concerns, questions, and things like that again real quick here. So, yeah, Misdirection, Razdalox, good to see you. Man, you guys are going at it. Good to see everybody, by the way. It's super, super good to see everybody. And I want to say thank you, too. I never, ever do this. So besides like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, blah, 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 blah. Like I already went through the guy who had already been removed 14 times that he had to resubscribe, that wrote me the other day in one of our comment threads. But besides all of that, I want to say special thank you really and sincerely to our patrons who have helped support us. Because even though it's hit and miss and we throw things on and you don't hear from us from a long time, sometimes it's not even the genre you were hoping to see and you waited, you stick with us. And I appreciate that because it's all part of the same story. I mean, there's no way you can pry these stories apart. You cannot pry Bigfoot apart from the Spaniards and that apart from the reptoids and everything else that's self-evident being declared through whatever evidence we're finding without much interpretation. They all run the same thing. They all ran around each other. They all dealt with each other. They all used each other and had their own agendas and what their existence was. And those all played off each other and affected one another. So we can really hardly present one without touching somewhere in the other. And there's no way I could go out there and physically, for real, study the stuff that's out there, right, without experiencing the other. So I just want to say again, I appreciate everyone on Patreon who's stepping out because that is literally, and no joke, what keeps the internets on and everything else. And I say internets because we have Starlink. A lot of times we were doing these things and they would cut us, boom, cut us, boom. Not Starlink, whoever we could hear talking occasionally. But so we also run like a beam antenna. We beam this, half mile or a mile to another place away from here at the same time. That's what we're running these super fast streams over, is that beam. Without being interrupted. So all this stuff costs money to maintain, much money to put together, different accounts and things like that, besides websites and trying to get the word out through as many avenues as we can, being so throttled. Because just the stuff I'm showing you right now, there's lots of people who don't want you to know any of this, only because they're like, no, quit asking questions. Don't dig that up. Do not do that. That's not what we want. And especially when it comes into crap like this. I mean, this isn't a joke. This is a big rock, and it's neat because it depicts something that probably doesn't exist anymore. I hear kittens in the background. I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, when we look at it, we have what looks like kind of the shape of a reptile or dinosaur looking head. We have a couple little deals on the snout here. We have a little crest. We have an eye here with an eyebrow and the eye underneath it. Pretty convenient. What I found to be most interesting about this is, have you ever seen where the ear is on a reptile? Or most dinosaurs, they don't bother showing you even where a hole is. It's like, where's his ear? And all this, and in the depictions, I should say. But here's something really interesting, because only in big-ass lizards do we have a major scale plate at the back of the jaw that covers and protects where the back of the jaw corner is. And then right above that, we have an ear canal. And then up here, we have a little horn in the back of the head and the curl. And it's funny because the geometry of this curve matches this, goes over. And if you were to overlay this, there are known species of dinosaur. This will fit the skull to a T. Not a joke, to a T. And as you'll see in the last installment, that last video we did, there's dwelling features beneath this thing. Now, it's interesting. Why did they need such hard rock shelters, such heavy, brutal shelters and things like that? Well, when you have animals, even 10, 11,000 years ago, when you have birds that stand 8, 9, 12 feet tall, that are powerful birds, and these aren't like storks and stuff. These are heavy-beaked predator birds. They didn't have predators themselves. They were top tier. Just like a T-Rex with a big beak, like with knives instead of teeth, or big knife blades. They existed during the time we know that people were in this part of the country, and their fossils are found here. So we know they were here way back when. the Holocene, Pleistocene, whatever. Well, that being said, this could be the head of one of those big birds. It's certainly ominous. But with the scale at the back here, that would only tell me one thing. It's a big form of lizard or a big form of reptile, or that dinosaurs had a similar scale plate at the back of this to protect this, because that feature is plainly seen in this overall sculpture. A lot of people say, oh, that's just a natural rock. It's a natural rock. Man, I'm telling you, that's fine. And you can say that. Then I follow natural rocks to great sites, artifacts, and caches of wealth. So it can't be coincidence when you can repetitively use this, and then you see Jesuit priests, you see people from the 1800s that were in the Knights of the Golden Circle, you see others remarking the same sites. You can decipher it based on these giant ancient monuments. You can decipher it based on written maps. You can decipher it based on paper maps that are in Mexico City somewhere. So there has to be a reality to what we're looking at eventually when we look at all this stuff. And you think, well, like you could say I'm crazy for the whole dinosaur thing, and for, really want to get silly, I could probably, potentially, maybe not. Maybe it's not even sitting here. I was going to pull up a picture of a dinosaur skull. Well, thought I had it just plopped here in the desktop for us if I ever did this. Anyway, I guess that's another, because it's not a stone skull. It's a skull found 600 feet deep in a cave. The guy who found all the Jalisco, the real authentic alien artifacts down there. Like I said, I'm not seeing that. So I guess if I come across it as we're doing this, I come across it. If not, we don't. So something else I'll plop off with, though, that we're looking at when we say, oh, well, what's that? This is another one that's pretty cool picture. Not a lot of people have seen it. If you haven't been with me since, late history, Doug Wright and a few others have probably seen this picture. But this isn't just looks like a horse's head. This actually is a horse's head, and it's fully three-dimensional. So you can go right on the other side of it, and it's cut all the way around. And really, really cool piece. And this goes back to a very unique site that should be attributed to the Templars. And even this breed of horse that has a little goatee down here is a known breed of horse. And I don't know, can't remember what the hell it is, but it's in one of the ones they use in France or in Europe. Early on, actually. Another shot that's kind of cool toward that extent. We look at monumentation. These are just kind of general monument stuff, since we're looking at, like I mentioned, who does these things. So this is something more like a Jesuit would do. When you have it looks like a mushroom, but then what's really cool is if you look at the cutout in the rock, it's exact same mushroom flipped upside down with a small rock on it. And this was in regard to a capstone that was 90 feet deep in the ground. And like I say, we could go anywhere during this deal here, but yeah, I mean, some people have seen a few photographs like on Facebook and that I've dropped of the big digs. Have any of the big digs sitting up here? No. So yeah, below all that was, what we call the big digs, and really massive finds. So what else can we just poke? Here's another pretty cool monument. It's very ancient. So here's another one that is not too far from here that I'd like to get back to one of these days and take a little deeper look. Got my circle. So here we can see the outline of a heart. And you can see a nice heart cut on its back. And then we have some triangle on that. And then in the eye, we see a cross. And this is actually, the heart actually stands for wings, in this case, closed up. Okay, so each wing would be closed on the back. This is Pegasus. And Pegasus is used in this ancient iconography. Now this stuff, I have no idea really how old it could potentially be, or who potentially could have done this, because it certainly predates any European occupation that I'm aware of, by far. So a lot of the stuff that I'll be bringing up in the future in videos and things is like that. Now we could talk about, this is another one, another type of obvious monument, basically, that we can see a couple of things going on in this picture. One would naturally be this pointed rock here, but actually this would not be laying down. In its original position, it was standing up, and this is an obelisk. And behind it was this rock with the hole in it and positioned, and you can see where my red circle is, there's little prop rocks under that whole thing, and that would be called a compass rock when they're positioned like that. And right here is a hole you can see right through this rock. And the unique part about that rock is it's at a place we call 0 point. And if there's another shot of 0 point, I'll drag one of those up. But anyway, it's a spot that has what we would consider as a buried UFO, or two. One of them's not on, one of them's on. And I say that publicly because the powers that be like, yeah, whatever, dude. And they would laugh, and no one believes you and nobody cares. And so that's cool. I can drop it. I think if I was showing you a video of it right now, it may not quite be that giving. But so the type of excavation, we go with make another little change up. The type of excavations that we formerly did were at this level. And so we're looking at a hole in this picture that is 90 feet deep and from the top to the bottom. Well, that's not even the top. And the deal down below, down here, is a tunnel that we knew was there from the scanning equipment that we run, the passive magnetic. And this tunnel was bisected. We bisected this tunnel. Well, at the floor of this tunnel below that was another, and there's a big capstone next to this feature here. And down there is what the geologists were swearing was 35 million year old rock. And that we saw timbers on the scan data. I don't think I have. I might even have that scan sitting there somewhere, but I don't see it. So, but anyway, on the scan data, I saw timbers laying there, whatever, and they said there's no way. That's 35 million year old rock. There's not going to be timbers down there. And so we punched through it with a 35-ton excavator, which is a big machine, 60-inch wide bucket. You could park a Volkswagen in it, and punched through the rock, and there were timbers below it. And we did the dendrochronology and the carbon-14 analysis. We got a date expected for reshoring in the late 1800s to early 19s, like 1912 the latest, and that's because that's KGC was redigging in. But the carbon showed up from the tunnel itself and the material on there at 1670 to 1680, which is exactly what the date should have been on this, because this was a revolt slaughter. So at 1680 Pueblo Revolt, they slaughtered the priests. They tore down this huge operation that had massive cooking kilns, processing a lot of gold, making tools and a bunch of other really off the wall things. So, but anyway, that was that location. Let's see what else. Just pop off and show you treasure related real fast. So I'll show you two more pictures, and then we'll move on to some other stuff. Maybe we'll try to see if Ron will give us a call here if he's still watching. So this is an image done with passive magnetic, and it's actually a stack of gold bars, and that's what this object is here. And back here, this is the wall, comes around, got a little cleft in it, and then the other wall's down here, and that's a wall, and then this is a stack sitting in the middle of the floor. And it's cool because one of the ways we know this is gold is up here where my deal here is north, coming this way, across the deal, north to south. And the magnetic field travels that way inside the planet. So anything in the ground, any electrons that build up on the surface of the gold from the magnetic field get blown off as a ghost image. And so this little square we see here with the green at the front and the darker blue at the back is a ghost image of residual electron vortices that build up, they reach a potential, and they cast off the surface. And that tells us what this target is. We already know it's a non-ferrous shield target, but this actually tells us how conductive it is. And the silver's not going to do it. Gold is your magic. Something else that we can actually photograph that most people don't know about. There's been a little leakage about this. We've been doing it since 1994, taught by the Backdoor CIA guys. It's real nice of them to teach me. But anyway, this is using an SX70 Polaroid film, the actual real emulsion from back then. The new remake cartridges won't work, but the ones back then do. And this is what we call a flare. And so each little ball, if I go in here and zoom in here, you see these are made up of a bunch of little balls of light. See little balls there? Okay, each ball can represent, let's say if it was gold in the ground that was 15 feet deep, and you had 1,000 pounds of gold. A ball like that, maybe a few of these is what you'd get. This is what we get on this site. So it was told us it was the hottest site they'd ever seen in record. They'd never seen anything like it. Plus, in this shot, we're still 800 feet from the main target. So we're not right beside it. So that's how big some of this stuff could get. So there's the powers that be. These rooms I may never get to open, never even get to mess with. Who knows? That room there is hundreds of thousands of square feet. It's not little at all. It's 200 by 300 foot, a big geometric deal. It's very deep. But the point being is a find like that would turn the gold market over its head. It would flip everything over tomorrow. And in essence, maybe once we're on a full digital system or some other system or something, potentially they could expose things like this. But when you have a single room, it's got 150 to 300 tons of material in it. And that's exactly what we're looking at in this scan. Oh no, this is actually the other scan. So that's a 78,000 pound stack. In this scan, there's two 78,000 pound stacks. But normally we've seen rooms between 150 to 300 ton, and we do that through atomic harmonic resonance. People can scoff, go, yeah, you're just talking gibberish. Well, I'm not. So Bob Fitzgerald out of Oregon developed a device based on atomic harmonic resonance. So has Charles Christensen, who won the Military IQ of the Year Award 2018, and others. And this is by like particle physics. So it's a resonance. So if you ring a tuning fork here and one of the same frequency design rings somewhere else, that's resonant, called sympathetic resonance, where the secondary thing rings. Well, if I can ring atomically, electronically, the atomic field of gold, then it will answer back and resonate back. I read that, it tells me how much is sitting there. So we've registered in excess of 150 tons at more than one of these sites. So being that there are thousands of these sites potentially out there, there actually really are. The amount of gold you'd be using it for fishing anchors on your deal, would be throwing it away. It would be meaningless if they were exposed to that. And that's one of the reasons it was put away all over the world. And people say, well, why'd they do that, man? Why'd they put 100 feet of concrete, 1,500 feet deep, and no one's ever going to recover that, ever? Exactly. They wanted to put it away because if it's away, the gold that's in circulation has much more value, and it keeps those specific kings and rulers omnipotent, so to speak. If everybody had gold, everybody would be wealthy. Once everyone's wealthy, no one is, right? So, and with wealth comes power and comes control. All right, so let's swap this around, man. I want to try something new. We want to talk about some Bigfoot news and things. So let's check out what's going to be on the horizon soon for KX. I'm going to open another file here. Let me move everybody around, see where the hell it went. I know I made one. Oh yeah, 2024 events, I think. Okay, so we already did, and this went really great. And I want to say thanks to the organizer for this one. It was super awesome. Kaimichi Mountain, Tanya Kordek up there. That was an awesome deal we did. We actually did the Nebraska Bigfoot Conference too. See if we had. Yeah, so these guys were tremendous. I really appreciate everyone up there. They did a great job. That was awesome. So next coming up, though, you have to excuse me there. So next coming up, though, we're going to have the Moon Lake Gathering. This is a really super cool event. It's going to be in Altamont, Utah. It's just Amazing place. The people here are great. This is the 27th year or 24th year, I think. It says it on one of these things. Regardless, this is going to be the second year we're there on invitation. Wonderful guys had us up there, and we're going to do a Bigfoot presentation for them. Terry Carter, and everyone up there, just hats off to them for making this happen for us. And it's a great privilege, actually, to be up there because some of the latest and greatest, I mean, the guys who we think history are what's in the curriculum. And the history is in the minds and souls of the people who go out there and dig it up. And those guys and the leftovers and who remains, this is where they all go, period. If you want to see any of the real people who do any of the real things in life, who found the craziest shit you can imagine that you read about, you don't even read about stuff like this because they don't show it to anybody to go anywhere. They bring this crap and let you hold it in your hands. So this is the one place where you can do things like that. Now, get a little more advertisement. This is one of their flyers for the event here. It's got a little more information on it. Get down here and look at the bottom there. So free admission, like I said, this is why we were selling the hats, and anyone can still donate. There's several ways to donate. You can look in the description, but this is what we were trying to make sure we had enough funds to cover our time up there, and we probably have to rent a car. I don't know if ours will do this trip or not, so probably have to do that and get up there and get whatever we got to do to make this thing happen. So it's going to cost money, and we appreciate any kind of helping assistance we can get with that. And then we've got the Moon Lake Gathering deal here. You've got a little bit of the itinerary here. You got Friday night, Phil Betson, Ryan Burns. Ryan Burns owns Space Wolf Research right next to Skinwalker Ranch. He's actually on the same fence. He's the south side. And personally, we studied there, and of course found sign of Bigfoot and Russian olives down there. It's nothing too surprising about that or whatever. But we did read unbelievable radiation in the hill there that he's got that was coming from some form of device in an algorithmic fashion, running a sine wave. Every 5 seconds, it would gain 110 millisieverts up to 600 millisieverts per hour, then drop to zero. A solid mix at 600 millisieverts per hour would fry you. I mean, I wouldn't even recommend being on the hill, period. And we stay there. Also, we stayed in a camper. Ryan's an amazing guy, man. He put us up there. Tara and I slept in the camper. The other guys slept in the other deals they had set up in shed there. And 1 week later to the day, on the Saturday, that camper was vaporized to the frame. I don't mean it burned. I mean it vaporized to the frame from the biggest bolt of lightning anyone had ever seen. And that bolt was caught on Skinwalker Ranch cameras. And to the left in their frame, you can see a UFO parked in the clouds. And whatever it was, like it looks like an energy beam. It's straight down, and it just, the plasma ball at the bottom is twice the size of the camper itself, and it vaporized it. There was nothing left but the iron frame. Nothing else. The thing was gone. And then Ryan will have to tell you about some of the other crap, because he told me, but I don't know if that's cool to tell you guys or not. So Ryan will be at this deal. You guys want to hear him? Hey, Dave Rosenfield, Darrell Wilson, Dave Bullitt, Kent Smith. I don't know these guys, for instance, but I'm going to meet them. Dan Dillman, and then Robert Kreider, and I'll be delivering it. It says there, Bigfoot. And then we have, you can see what's being covered here, though. Bigfoot, Lost Roads Mine, Treasure, Aztec Treasure. There's a lot that goes on at this deal, including UFOs and everything else. Because like I said, you can't do this for real and not experience all of this. So the guys that are running around in suspenders sitting in those chairs up there, they're I'll tell you what, some of the grittiest guys you ever seen in the earth. And you talk about the salt of the earth, man, there's nothing saltier than these people. A lot of them have stood their ground where most, and I mean thousands to one, men would run, period. And that deserves something, because they're the ones that come back with the information. They're the ones that do it. So after that, I believe we are going to be, see what comes up after there. After Moon Lake is going to be Phenomicon. This is probably copyrighted material. I hope so. And if it is, I really apologize. But I'm going to be a speaker, and I hope you don't mind if I'm giving you a little bit of free publicity here. But Phenomicon is going to be an amazing conference. This is put on by Brandon Fugel and Department of Tourism of Utah, who stepped up as a key organizer. In fact, my contract signed with the state itself. So this is something that's sponsored heavily. They put an awful lot of money in this. It features all the crew and cast, or not the crew necessarily, I guess all the cast, probably some of the crew, to Expedition Bigfoot and to Skinwalker Ranch, to Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch. And so just amazing group of people. I mean, the guys that are into some of this stuff are, like I said, another tier up. But this is a big production event. This is a really big production event. They've got a lot of speakers that are going to be flowing in and out of this deal. And we can see here some of them. Yours truly in the second row down all the way to the right. But you'll notice a lot of these faces, including George Knapp. I mean, where's he been? You know, William Henry. These guys are all off Guy. You got David Plotty's The 411 Mystery. You got, everyone else. You got Thomas Winterton, his big favorite. Everyone loves him. You got Russell Cord, great friend of mine. He's going to be up in there. Travis Taylor. This is somebody who I personally want to talk to because I kind of want to squeeze him. You the real deal, dude? If you are, it's like, I know where a couple of these deals are buried. Let's go take a look. Right? I'm down. Might as well. Doesn't hurt to look anyway. I'm not saying anything else. Ryan Skinner turned out to be a pretty good buddy of mine, at least online. I've not met him in person, but he featured me in a couple of his books, Digging Skinwalker Ranch and the other. So you guys try to look into him as the author and check out our work is featured in there, some of the analysis we did and things like that. Brian Arnold, he's another one that's just a favorite around everywhere, recognizable face, household deal. These are great guys. Ben Hansen, you've seen him in how many productions. So this isn't a little cast. Mariah Mayer. These are people who we've all, and Nick Pope. I mean, how you just go on and on. We've seen all these people in numerous broadcasts for the last probably 2 decades. And they're all going to be packed into Phenomicon, so you should check that out. And they were really, really courteous. They threw down a heck of a nice little deal for me there, do a quick read, specializing in research and recovery projects, including ancient treasure and mines, above and below megalithic sites, gems and minerals, dinosaur and forensic evidence, and field research at cryptids. Specialized in various technology, including subsurface imaging, has been utilized by private, academic, government, and law enforcement agencies. Inventor, designer, and building your custom equipment specifically suited for tactical ops and paranormal research, including the high-end, long-distance audio sampling, such as the well-known KXPD3, as seen on the TV show Expedition Bigfoot. So great. I'm really appreciative of them. You talk about some amazing people. They threw this out. This is the part of their marketing. I didn't write that. They went and got this stuff, put it together. Pretty amazing. It's going to be a sick show. I mean, that one's going to be off the wall. And then we've got, like I said, we're going to have some things going on, man. We've got some expeditions in the middle of this. New things are going to be happening on the Bigfoot scene and all that. And we're kind of behind the scenes right now. And be patient. It'll come back up. But the final event after that one was going to be, I believe, this one here, which is going to be the 3rd annual Ozark Mountain Bigfoot Conference. It's going to be an amazing deal. I think I've got a speaker list for that one too. Let's check it out. Yeah, so we're gonna have Brian King Sharp, Shane Carpenter, we heard of Shane, Robert Kreider, that's that one guy, Jason Kenzie, good buddy of mine. I haven't talked to him in a while, but still a good buddy. C. Wayne Toothrow and Richard Taylor. So this is going to be a really cool thing. It's going to be my first trip to Missouri or into the actual Ozarks up there. So the only place I've been in the Midwest or whatever was Michigan, and up in that area with the Michigan Bigfoot Conference, great people as well. And then we did one for Untold Radio guys, Eric Schwazel or whatever up there, and did one for that. Bigfoot and Brews, actually. We're going to do that again this year, but I guess they didn't end up having it. So, but hey, if let me bump back over to my YouTube chat. Ron, you still out there? Give me a yay or nay. And oh my gosh, you guys got us so far ahead of me. How am I going to catch up? All right, buddy. Let's see. Let me go through a little bit of the chat here. We're going to zip in and see where we're at. I could throw this window up and you could kind of look at this as we do it, but I don't want to mess anything up. Okay. Oh boy. SoCal Re-Squatcher. Nice. Do it, man. You look for monuments and stuff and don't keep them quiet. Let me know. Take note if you find something. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. Well, over time, we'll go over how to verify them. You don't need to guess, because if things don't have a verification and they can't be verified in one or another manners that they use, I basically put it on another shelf, because all it's going to do is get in my way, because it could be natural. And if it's natural, I'm really going to get screwed up. So a carved dot within 10 feet, carved or pecked dot, a support rock that can't get there, especially if it's a dissimilar stone, things like that. Superstitions has a lot of these markers. Damn right, they do indeed. All over the Southwest, really. says Jeb Baldwin. So this is the coolest thing on and about the internet. So interesting, man. That's a pretty big compliment. The internet's a pretty big spot, buddy. I don't know if we deserve that one or not, but thank you very much. That's really, really cool. Luke, can you listen to me talk all day? That's pretty crazy, but I appreciate it. No, I'm just joking. That's awesome, dude. Luke, where are you from? You said a condor, our Thunderbird. Yeah, zip in there and let me know where you're from real quick. Need to write a book on ancient civilization? Yeah, you know, Ron, it's coming. Let's see. Thanks, you guys. You guys are too damn generous. I don't know what's up with all that. I don't know if you want me to send you stuff or what's going on, but I appreciate it. It says, now this is cool. There's a big stone eagle with spread wings on a mountain near Morgan, Utah. There's a symbol on rocks near there too, but we found no treasure yet. All right, because it won't be there. Remember what I just went through? And if you weren't listening earlier, go ahead and replay the video, or if you weren't here is what I mean. The eagle's misleading trail. So, and look at what eagles do, and what shape, what position that eagle's in is going to dictate how that eagle feels, what it's up to. So, let's see. Let's see. Adam Labrak, man, he's a great fan of mine. I want to say too, man, I got a couple people out there. Sean, sorry, Kathleen Roscoe, Cheryl Carter, Doug Wright, Michael Gann, Gary McKinnon, huge supporter. And I mean, let me tell you, yeah, Gary on your side, it's something. I'll tell you what. And if you don't know who Gary McKinnon is, you should take a look. And he's a big supporter of KX. Talk to Gary every once in a while, not enough. Amazing guy, man. Talk about a heart, just loving man. Just unbelievable. Gold Aurora, short version. Okay, I'm cruising through you guys. Overbuilt Automotive, thanks a lot. That's really freaking nice. Appreciate it. You guys will have to read back to the chat. I can't read them all back out. Yeah, Luke, Lodge Expedition is still a go. We're doing all we can. It's just people fall out, you know. No fault to them whatsoever. Everybody's got a life, and unfortunately, we've got to live them. Personally, I try to put this stuff as a big priority. But when it comes down to, on my end, it comes down to munching and keeping the lights on. But, so it's just hard we got to choreograph everybody, get them together. Okay, I'm trying to be quick here. So, you guys are going so quick. I gotta catch up to you, man. Awesome. Let me hold on a second here. Okay, I'm almost there. Robert Crider, the Mantis. Whoa, thanks, bro. That's crazy. It's the shit. Oh, sweet, Luke. Yeah, Albuquerque. Nice, man. Right on. Love it. Look, local New Mexican in there. Ron, you still there? Looks like you're still there. All right. Why don't you give me a call, brother? And let me see if I can blip you on here for the world to hear us. I can also do collab cameras too, but I think I would have to send a link for that. But if you want to do a call in, man, we can take a call in from Ron. Picture of Ron here. So other than that, everybody, yeah, so the deal with Ron and the lodge thing, we're not going to go up with as many people as before. Of course, anyone who knew what was really going on with the lodge stuff from before kind of knew there was a potential we were going to get blown out on that thing by a few of the people. And not to rehash all that crap, especially since, some of the people may not even be alive anymore who were actually involved in the backside of the dirt. I'm not gonna bash anybody. Needless to say, no, we will not be taking anyone questionable this time when we do this. It'll be a small team. Might have several individuals, but certainly won't be anybody outside who we consider our people, so to speak. So, I'm waiting to see if Ron gives me a call. Ron. All right. Mr. Castner.
Hey, how you doing, bud?
Good. Hold on. I'm going to bring this up. Let's see if this works.
Okay, give it a shot.
Okay. Ron, why don't you say something? See if we pop up here. It should be. I don't see him showing up on the aux audio here. So let's see. I've already tested this and it did work. You still there, Ron? Okay, hold on. Okay, say now if you can't hear this, it's going to be kind of weird. But like I said, all this is a test, you guys. Appreciate you going off with this, Ron. You're awesome for calling. We can test this thing out. I still can't hear you within my system, but I'm going to try to see what it's doing here real quick. Microphone 98 default, my streamer. That should be it. Let me that should work. Okay, well, I might have to try something else with it, Ron. I don't know. Let me try to unplug and replug it in real quick. See if that'll do it. Turn it off and turn it on again. Okay. Oh, I think it just hung up. Now I got sound though. But it might be muting that when I go to telephone. It shouldn't. This is supposed to work, so pretty interesting here. Let's see. Okay, how you there, Ron? Now I think we definitely heard the ringing. I'm gonna try something else here, bud. That's on the company. That one goes out to Mr. Ron. Oh, well, I guess your voice is not going to come over, Ron.
You still there, Robert?
Yeah, I am. And it looks like your voice is not going to come over this thing for some reason.
Okay, well, maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time. I'm going to have to try to figure it out. It's real odd, though, because every other sound I think on the phone does. So, cool. Thanks, Ron.
Okay, yeah, we'll give it a try next time, man. Maybe next time you go live, let me know, and we'll work out the bugs before you go live.
Yeah, okay, cool. And I don't think anybody really minds too bad. I might take a look in this thing real quick and do a collab cam too sometime, because I know you don't mind going on camera, right?
No, not at all.
Okay, well.
Yeah, any way I can, man. Let's rock and roll.
Okay, actually, let's see. Talk real quick, Ron.
Can you hear me now, Robert?
Yeah,
Testing 1, testing 2.
Yeah, so now I'm just holding the phone up to the old microphone, and we can. Yeah, it's the, I guess the old school way of doing things, right? Back in the caveman before they had all this fancy stuff.
Exactly. We can get a long string and a couple of cans and get it done too. We're old school.
Yeah. So why don't you add in a little bit your interest in this stuff? So Ron originally, for everybody who doesn't know this, Ron was kind of the inspiration to me going back up and even looking for the lodge again. I mean, I always wanted to do it, but Ron's the reason that we really kicked it off. He was the one that kicked me ass and said, no, let's just do it. Let's go ahead and make the plan. So we did. And of course, he's an integral component to not just the KX team, but as well, to this deal in particular. And why don't you tell him, Ron, kind of, why you were interested and what made you want to go put the first one together and then do this again?
Well, I actually caught you on a podcast before we became pretty good friends. And just driving, as I do, I drive a lot in my work. And I just happened to catch you on a podcast, and it was about the lodge. And that intrigued me to no end. So, I tried to get in touch with you, which I did, and, kind of see what was going on with that whole thing, and felt you out a little bit, and you were genuine, absolutely genuine. You really never gave a theory without having facts, and that's really funny to say because, everybody has to have a theory before they can get their facts, but you won't say it until you actually have it in your hand, which I loved about that, and most people don't know that about you, that, you can have speculation, and everybody does have speculation, but you take it to the nth degree. And when you take that speculation to the nth degree, like when we went out to your GLST site, which was absolutely amazing, and it didn't take us 5 minutes, and we had palm prints and fingerprints and stuff of the big guys in your area. I was like, this is crazy. And we went in the direction I wanted to go, not the direction you wanted to go. I was like just blown away. But yeah, it's just amazing. And to get back to the lodge, we need to find that thing. The world needs to see it. The world needs to see it. I want to see it, and I hope we can get it done this year.
Oh yeah, you and me both. Matter of fact, it's something I've really been looking for. I've been looking forward for one, just getting back on the mountain with you, because you're just an absolute joy to have on the damn mountain. I mean, I've been out with everybody in the world, from grandmas to little kids to big egotistical people to humble little guys, and you're just an absolute joy to have on the mountain, because it's easy with you, Ron. You're like the person that no matter what goes wrong or goes on, you're the easy person just to pull back to. Like there's Ron. Cool. Ron's the stable one. He's not going anywhere. He's not going off. He's not. And that's something I appreciate about you. You're the most level-headed guy I think I know up there anyway. Well, you and Boyd. Yeah, Boyd's kind of the same way. It's like Boyd's.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Robert. But, you have to be that way. You can't go off on a tangent and let your emotions take over the situation, because that is when you lose focus of what you're there to attain.
Yeah,
that makes totally sense to you, and and that's where I was. And I know we went awry up on the mountain the last time with a few individuals we won't mention, but I didn't even notice that until the last day. You noticed it beforehand, and we won't mention that. We don't need to go in that. We know what happened up there. It was almost a sabotage to sabotage your work, and that's not going to happen. We won't happen. I won't go on the expedition if I think someone is not relevant to what we need here.
Yeah, no, and I really appreciate that, because that's the whole focus. I guess I never want to down anybody's efforts or anybody's methodology or anything else, but I do think it's important. I think that there's a niche being missed. And that's why I was so ecstatic to have you on the team, not just because you're U.S. Forest Service or your experience in that, or, you're really the first person that just comes out and blatantly that's stating what you're stating, basically. Even though it's your own opinion, you still come from that background. And I appreciate that about you, because I think that it gives you the professionalism. How do I want to say? So I don't want to say that we're better or worse than anybody else in the world, but I think that there's a niche, and it's not just a professional niche. If people are doing it, it's hard to put into words, but I think there is something that we bring to the table that might be missing a little bit. And it's not better or worse. It's not that. It's just something different. And we're blessed because the location we've got, right? I mean, the lodge stuff is beyond it. So I was actually going to toss pictures up as we were speaking, but a lot of this stuff is just eluding me. And this computer, you guys will have to excuse me, this computer, although it's got hundreds of gigs in it already, it still does not have a lot of stuff that we even did all that recent, like the lodge and things like that. So I was actually kind of looking, because I know there are some pretty cool stuff parked that we could show while we're sitting here talking about this. So I know here's a cool one from the lodge deal that people might, I know they like that. So this is a big X, people. So you can, here in a minute, Ron, you'll be able to see this. I don't know how that works out, but anyway, so I'm showing them the big X at camp that we camped at.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, and there's somebody put an apple in a tree, and what the apple kind of does is it's misleading. It makes the X look little, but they don't realize how far that tree is behind the apple. But yeah, that tree on the left that we see going up, that's about a 90-footer, and the other one's probably 80. The 80's old, the 90's not that old, and that's still a heavy tree. That tree would probably weigh a few thousand pounds. So this is a really, really big X, but I want people to kind of look at this and know that this isn't at all exceptional for where we were. So we're very fortunate up there to have things of this gravity, that we have, the opportunity to look at and to mess with. Below that tree, I'm going to show another picture here. And now this is what I'm showing them now is the big knocked over root balled out that's in front of that tree. And so what people can see now is, and I'm going to use my little red cursor, back here is the left leaning tree that you saw in the X. It's way back here in the back. And then we see right here is a big root feature, and that apple was way out here in front. So the apple was like 100 feet from that X. And you'll notice on this root structure that we'll see, I'm going to zoom into this steel a little bit. That's not little. That's at least 6 foot to that right there. That trunk is over 30 inches. So this is a lot taller than that. And what I'm looking at now, Ron, is the dirt that's on the ground in front of that big root ball that fell on top. And they can notice that there's no hole at all in front that came out of, and that dirt fell off the root ball. And then I want to remind everybody that as we look here, it may kind of look anomalous, right? I mean, it looks, oh, wow, yeah, that's kind of anomalous. It's kind of cool. All right. But if we grab my circle here, if we look in front, we have another one right here we have another one in front that's missing the whole thing. It's out of the ground. And then we have way behind that, 100 foot back there, we happen to see this other subject example. And I want you to look real close at this, you guys, because I grab my little red circle. We look down at the bottom. Do you see where it's smashing this other tree here? It didn't come out of the ground. And then what you have to realize is, as I zoom back out and we look at this whole area for what it is, all these trees were carried in position. You remember that, Ron?
Oh, yeah. And then that was one of the things that intrigued me the most. And I had a hard time wrapping my head around that until I actually started doing my own investigations, and I could not find the hole where the root came from. And I know it wasn't uphill because, sometimes you'll get a little bit of a snow slide on a tree, and then they'll come down as the snow melts sometimes. But to get the gravity and the scope of a tree that big, it's unbelievable. And you're just saying, how big are these guys that were up there carrying these in? I don't think it was one. I don't think one was going to carry a tree that big. But then again, we have upside down trees in Alaska. How do you shove that in the ground? So to be a part of that and actually to see it and put your eyes and your hands and your emotions around those things when you're explaining to us up on the mountain, it all just made sense. When you're saying the carry-ins were so big, I'm like, okay, I'm going to see some carry-ins, that were 14 inches in circumference. I was blown away, absolutely blown away. And once again, I thank you for taking me on that expedition. That was awesome.
Yeah, and I want to remind people, so the main tree we see there on the left kind of frame, the big one, so that's 100-foot tree. 100-foot tree with a 30-inch base. This is if you cut it off. This isn't the roots. Weighs 18,000 pounds on average. So these aren't little pine trees. These are monsters. These are big, big pines. They're very old. They live a long damn time. But to note that Ron, just like you said, what's going to carry an 18,000 pound tree? And this isn't sparse forest. This shit is dense. And I mean, what we did here, the area where you see in this picture is the clearest areas we could find to set tents. Everything else is just solid trees. And these carrions are all over the place. Now, what, a tornado picked one up and managed to throw it up to 10,000 foot up on a mountain? Yeah, maybe, but not without breaking off all the little branches. And if I had the full set of shots, I could show everybody that all the branches were on this tree when it was deposited. And I just don't have those shots. And we have the other ones where, it was jerked out of the ground. That one was ripped up like a carrot. That's an amazing thing too. And, like I said, I think I know where all the pictures are, but like, as I'm looking, I'm going to run across them. And for instance, now I can kind of go back and go, remember when I just talked about those guys finding a dinosaur skull, an actual skull in the cave? Well, this is the dinosaur skull they found in the cave. Here you go. I just threw it up. So this isn't a joke, and it's not play, and it's not fake. This is the real deal. It's found by Juan Chavez in Jalisco, 600 foot deep, and this is the real deal. And people can say, oh my gosh. They'd say, well, if people ever ride around dinosaurs, they'd find something. Well, this is 600 foot below a pyramidal hill or pyramid. It hasn't been uncovered yet, so they don't know. And this is in there. These are the raw shots. This is where it was. It's actually sitting in this shot. It's sitting against a masoned wall. Down in there, and this one's even a little better. We can bring it up and we can see the masoned wall behind it. And like I said, it's not little. one of the shots, let's see if I have it here. One of the shots, oh, here it is. This one now I'm showing Ron, it has the skull behind the rocks where it was actually picked up and a guy's foot in front of it for comparison. And so I don't know what people want to think or anything else, but that's the gravity. So I hate to just bring that back to that, but I mean, I just saw the picture in this random file.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. What do you think about all that too, Ron? I mean, your interest is in Bigfoot. How does that strike you just from somebody on the outside? Somebody shows you a picture of a dinosaur skull.
It fascinates me because, anytime someone's interested in, cryptids or the paranormal or anything like that, you're right, it all ties together. At some point, you run into another facet of a cryptid or a paranormal or a hobbit guy or a large guy or something, but it all runs together. And, UFOs are in the equation now. But, that stuff that you have is fascinating. And when I tell people, I've been out with a lot of research, and I've talked to you about it. I've been up in the Sierras, and I've been down in Texas, and I've been in Oklahoma, and I was just passed through Tucumcari yesterday. I should have stopped, but I didn't. I apologize. But I've been around all of that area, and with other researchers, and you have, it's the old adage. The proof is in the pudding. Robert, you own the pudding. You own the pudding. People can have all the theories they want. They can have anything they want. And I'm not saying that because you're now becoming a great friend of mine. You are the man. You need to get out there and let people know what knowledge you have for this planet. When you and I talked for a couple days on the trail on the expedition, I was blown away. I tried to stay silent because I'm trying to suck it all in because everything that came out of your mouth was gold. People need to hear that, and that's why I put in the comments, you need to write a book before it's all said and done and this life is over with, because the world's going to lose a lot of knowledge that you've attained that you haven't let out. And I know you have more. I mean, you and I have talked.
Yeah.
And I know you have more, and it's fascinating. It's all fascinating. The ancient civilizations, when you gave me the dates, I was blown away. Absolutely blown away. But hey, your live feed, let's go on.
Oh no, man! It's good to hear your perspective and what you got to say. To me, your opinion is gold. It means an awful lot to me. I mean, I like to, because we come from different backgrounds in a sense and share the same interests, but you come from a totally different perspective, and I know you're honest. You won't puff hot air up my ass, and I freaking hate to be puffed. So, yeah, man, you know it. I mean, bad. I'm actually looking. I know that I had some files set aside in here from that up there. So another thing I wanted you to kind of explain is, so like I said, we're going to be wanting to take a few people out. And why don't you let people know kind of how that was? Because it makes me feel a little bit offish to charge anybody, but I can't afford to go do this stuff. I mean,
right.
I can't afford to take myself to go do it.
And you wanted to share your knowledge for free, and I understand, people have to pay the light bill and people have to pay the rent and, and keep the internet on, as you say. And we talked about this, and people are calling me and wanting me to take them out, and I'm like, hold on a second. I was a closet guy for years and years and years, as I told you. I didn't want anything to know because of my job background.
Yeah.
Being a federal officer with the U.S. Forest Service and out there tromping the woods looking for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I can do that by myself. I can talk to U.S. Fish and Wildlife by myself. But when I start going on podcasts or live casts or things like that, it gets out there. And, to tell you the truth, I haven't had any flack from anybody. I've had one guy walk up to me on the fire the last 20 days and said, hey, you're the Bigfoot guy. And I was like, yeah, what's going on? He goes, well, I'm not a believer. And I was like, well, I'm not either. He goes, oh, well, great. So all that's BS? I said, no, I'm a knower. I was 3 feet for one. There's a big difference. To believe, you got to have faith. To know, I was there. And that's a little bit different story. But just to wrap it up, we are going to take people out at some point. You and I have talked about this. I guess you got to charge something because there's this time, material. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff invested, But we don't want to do the regular thing. We don't want to take people out, go cast a print. I mean, we'll teach them how to do all that stuff.
Absolutely.
We talked about different levels of being a greenhorn or a novice, all the way up to an extraordinary VIP, like taking people like, well, I won't even say the name, but just taking people out that, are actually seasoned researchers, and we can pick their brain, they can pick our brain, but I think they can learn things from you, and I know things and you know things, and, we like to share that stuff. But, people won't go out and do it alone because they need a leader. There's about one leader out of every, 10,000 people that's a true leader. And you got to really have that guy that people put their faith in and their trust in, and they want to go out and, you can never guarantee an experience or a face-to-face or even a howl or a tree knock for that matter.
Right.
You just cannot guarantee that. But, you are going to get interaction, whether it's with one group or another group, you will get interaction. And to what degree that goes to, who knows? But, it's a great idea. Robert, I think, I guess this is probably the first time the world's heard that we were going to do something like that. Is that correct? Have you mentioned it anywhere?
No, I've not told anybody.
And I haven't either, because you and I have roughly talked, we put some rough drafts together of what we're going to charge to take people out. And, like I told you, I really don't want to do super big groups. I think super big groups, you don't have the interaction that you want, maybe 10, 12 people max, and we can split up. When we can do night investigations, we can do day investigations, we can show them, how you track at your places, how I track at my places. I mean, we just got a whole bunch of stuff that we can actually show people, and, maybe they can take it back home and get out there and get going, because, the bottom line is we need to figure out this Enigma. What is it? Who are they? Where are they from? Why are they here? How long have they been here? Why don't they want to come out and interact with us? There's all those questions that everybody wants to know. And that's the goal, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's something too. I mean, I do want to bring that up because when I took you out, we got eye shine the first night at GLST, let alone everything else. And then we went up to Sandias, we heard tree knocks. Well, we thought was talking, crazy talk.
Right.
We heard a really distant kind of faint howly sound. Well, it was a howl, but it was way out. I know we heard several big breaks and tree knocks over the period, and we got to see prints, hand prints, feet print. So, you can let people know too. I mean, even now, you're right. You can't guarantee anything, but as far as the odds go and whatever, what did you mentioned what you got to see, and I think I'm pretty confident we can do most of that just about every time. It's just, here's what I love is, and Ron had brought this up, you guys. So I thought this was a great idea. He's going to be basically taking me into places I've not ever been before. Some of them are going to be very well-known spots, and other places will be a little more obscure. But the point is that I will get to work the methods and the tactics and my experience on these places. And that's neat for me, because can I do what someone else hasn't done yet? And that's kind of to get us farther in, you know what I mean? So even though a lot of these are going to be iconic, who knows, decade old or more, places where things happened, I think we're going to bring a totally different aspect. It's not like, well, every TV show's done that crap. Oh yeah, they had sightings here and here and here. Yeah, let's we'll go over there and look, and they walk around the woods. But I'm not to be braggish, and I don't mean to be that way, but I want to apply what I know, because what I know seems to work. It's been tested hundreds of times. I want to do it. And I want to go places that these things are historic and apply that. So.
Sure. And I do too. And I kind of want to share some of the knowledge that I've attained, and the great knowledge that you have is amazing. I mean, I thought I'd do some stuff until I got with you for a little while, and I was like, wow, this guy's off the hook. You do stuff that people on TV, and I know that they have a producer and they have to, sell commercials and make money and do the whole thing. But the things that you have blow those people away on TV. It might not be equipment-wise, but we do, between me, you, and another member, we have a lot of equipment that's top-notch.
Yeah. Well,
and we will share that with our expeditioners if they don't want to bring their own stuff, which they're more than welcome to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm hoping that I know people just they go bananas if you ever say anything about making any kind of money. It's like I've actually heard to discredit a guy on photos years ago about, well, the guy sells T-shirts. So what?
Yeah, so
He probably
what?
doesn't have a pot to piss in, man. Would you give him a break? Go buy a T-shirt. Shut up, you
Right,
know.
exactly,
And
exactly.
that's
Yeah,
how I've
people don't
always
realize what it takes, you know.
no, and
People
that's
just
how I've
don't
always
realize
felt
what it
about it.
takes.
And everybody has the same right to try to gosh dang bring a dime in to feed the kids. And it's kind of like a lot of people are out there. I'm very well aware. I think we all are that it doesn't hurt to help out. They can do that, and it's kind of like, well, if they can, hey man, I say it, step up and do it. And if this enables us to bring more presentation, more disclosure, more to the public, and everything else, how can anybody have a problem with it unless it's just a simple factor of jealousy? What else could
Yeah.
it be? What
And
else could it be?
sure, I totally agree with that, Robert. I totally agree with that. You know, I mean, we don't know what we're going to charge per expeditioner. You know, it's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be $20 a night, that's for sure. You know, but we're really not in it to make the money. I know you want to share your knowledge. I want to share my knowledge. If we can go and do a live feed in one of the areas we're at, we may be able to do that.
Right.
You know, and we're going to show them, you know, how we fly drones and how we get information from flying drones, and, you know, with our thermals and our, you know, our colored night vision. You know, we got all kinds of good stuff, man. So, you know, it's pretty in the KXPD3 now. It's got the new mic, which you haven't put on my KXPD yet, but you're going to, right?
Right. Yeah, no, we were gonna set you up pretty heavy when I can get around
get that
to it.
on there too. Going on there because it's all one-touch record and it's all 1080p, so it's thick stuff.
Hey, on the video, you guys, has there been a soundtrack playing in the background the whole time?
Yeah, I hear a soundtrack.
Oh, really? I wasn't supposed to do that. I hope everyone can hear us talking over it and it's not been too aggravating.
No, it's not. It's very, very faint.
Oh, okay. I just turned it down a little more. I'm looking on my control deal here, and I had to scroll down to actually see that input. I've got so much crap going on at the same time; it's nuts. I'm really actually surprised I got as far as I did. Now, we should have been a link through line in situation here, but I'm not real sure how that works.
Well, what I'd like to throw out there, Robert, is I want to do something a little bit different. You know, I know that there is researchers out there that just take people out to their areas or close to their areas. Sometimes they don't take them to their best areas. And then they go through the motions of, you know, oh, this happened here, and when I was over here, there was a squash behind that tree, you know, and I caught a glimpse of him, you know, and he rocked out, and I seen him 2 or 3 times. I want, before we even put this together, I want the people that are interested to tell us what they want on an expedition. What do you guys want? Now, we're not going to let them pick the area because you and I know where we get activity.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what are they looking for? I want to pick their brains and say, what do you guys want? You know, Robert, you're just a wealth of knowledge. You know, I'm pretty good in the woods myself. You know, I've been out on a lot with, you know, high-profile people, you should say. I won't mention their names, I promise I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I've been out with other folks. You came number 1 on my list, I promise you, out of all the people I've been with. Definitely number 1. No offense to anybody else out there if I've been out with you, but you just don't have the knowledge and the tenacity Robert puts in when he's tracking or reverse tracking, I should say. He does a whole bunch of neat stuff. So it's stuff that you definitely want to learn, really neat stuff. But I want to see what they want. What's their expectations? You know, and it's hard to feel that because, of course, everybody wants to shake hands with the big guy, you know, and eat an apple with him on a log. Everybody wants to do that, correct?
Right.
That's not going to happen. That's not reality. You know, but the reality is, as I believe we can show them all of the evidence of them being there, them watching. You know, we may get a glimpse. We may even get a really good interaction where they're coming into camp and chucking pine cones or rocks or sticks. You know, basically just seeing how we react. That's why they do that. They want to see how they react. You know, when we want to sleep at night, they are nocturnal. They want to play at night, especially the juveniles. We know that.
Right. Yeah. No, exactly.
But you know, I would say, you know, since the cat's out of the bag, and you and I are going to put something together and start this, and we're going to. I think we talked about doing 6 a year. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would like to do something like that. At least I think 6 a year.
Yeah, 6 a year because you got a whole bunch of stuff coming up with all of your, you know, Phenomenon and Moon Lake Gathering and all kinds of stuff. So, you know, 6 a year. We want to do it at the right altitudes. You know, we want to do it when the berries ripe, so the deer follow the berries, the squats follow the deer. It's a simple mathematical equation. We want to do it in the right places. We go up at 8,000 feet in the Sierras. We want to do that into July, beginning of August, when the berries are turning. That's when the deer go up in that elevation, and the squats follow the deer. So,
right.
There's things that we're going to take them to all these good places, and I think it's just going to be phenomenal. But I want to hear feedback from people that would actually be interested in going out. What they're willing to pay is not my concern. Yes, we can't do it for free, but I want to know what they expect. What is their expectations? What do they want to learn? What do they want to achieve?
Yeah, so
if we can get feedback on that, because we can tailor every trip differently. You know what I mean? Because the seasons and the areas change, and we really have to tailor it to to the terrain, to the trip, to the people, what their expectations are. I'm not going to go out there and try and fake anything, and I know you never would either. I mean, if I ever find anybody that's going to try and hoax or fake anything, they're done. Their expedition's done. Pack it up, get in your car, or we'll walk you out, and you're done.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen, because I won't put my name on something like that, and I know definitely you won't put your name on something like that, and I know that there's people out there that do that, and I'm not going to get into that. But
yeah.
There's people out there that just take people out for the motions, and,
Shit,
that ain't happening.
I'll be honest with you, with the frequency of things that happen, the type of things that happen, I hope things don't happen most of the time, because they're usually more than I need and more than I want. So, I mean.
Well, you and I, being out there, and you're very seasoned, and I'm going to say I'm seasoned too, to a degree. They kind of tell you, hey, this interaction is over, or it's going to get ugly. And that's what it's time to say, you know what, we are done here. And, most people don't know that. Some people will push the envelope, and when that happens, believe it or not, that's when you get in a book called 411. We don't want that.
Yeah, and I guess that's the other thing about the lodge area. There's probably people watching or will watch, I'm sure, that are not even familiar with that by now. It's been a couple of years.
That I did a little research on that before we went up there. Just the amount of people that were actually never recovered in that area is beyond me. And then again, we have the U.S. Forest Service actually trying to change the name of trails, delete trails. They don't want people on the trails, shutting gates off at night so you can't go in there. They kind of want you out without being in there at night. There's a whole bunch of things that just don't add up for what the U.S. Forest Service does, especially when there's not a special closure put in place by the U.S. Forest Supervisor. When there's, it usually takes a special closure to shut off any kind of access into a forested area, whether it be wilderness or whether it just be, say, a campground or a lake, anything. We have to go through the forest supervisor. We've got to write up basically a proposal why we want it closed off, and then it has to go through a whole bunch of channels. And then it comes back, and we got to go range township and everything on what we want closed off. But there was never any special closure written off of it. I think that, honestly, my personal opinion, I think it came down from Washington, and I think it came down as a hush-hush thing that just do it. Because I've never seen it up there like that.
No, it is crazy. And it's like the one on the other side of the mountains, the same thing, when we did what we call the PLSA area and did that stuff, when I ended up getting the evidence for Oxford and the Museum of Zoology in Lausanne. When we did that thing, it was the same thing. When we made it public, it scared the shit out of everybody. The news did a 22-minute special, and then the head of and we know because the investigative reporter who did it contacted us, and she was distraught, actually, because they did this tremendous documentary based on what we showed them and where and everything, and we showed them, the goods. And they said that it even had the hardcore skeptics in the studio second-guessing everything. And then when they showed it to the studio heads, the people that actually own that local network, and it's a network station, it's like NBC or whatever, ABC, and they said, no, man, don't put it up. There's no need to cause unnecessary panic or fear. And it's kind of like, so they declared what the people were going to find out about, and it was so compelling. And I was very upset about it, but what did come out about it is a special closure. And I showed that or mentioned it to you before that they had listed that it was. I can still quote it to this day because it was to prevent adverse interaction between humans and rare and sensitive species, and that's to quote it. And they never mention the species. They don't nothing else. And it's adverse interaction. It's not effects on the species. It's effects on each other. It's like, it's
yeah, they're just covering their butt with a wide range of the word species and rare.
Right.
Just covering their ass,
Yeah, and the adverse interaction, that's the part that kind of got me because, that's, and I understand in bear country and crap like that, they'll kind of do similar things to that. But it's like they didn't list anything. There's no, like, kind of like you said, you got to go through that whole process, which is what species are you protecting?
We don't want the public to come onto the burn scar or actually get around the fire. We got to go to close out those areas while the fire is in progress.
Right.
It doesn't matter what it is. That's just the way that the laws and the regs are written up. We must do some type of special closure, and it's got to be signed by the forest supervisor before we can attain that closure. This just happens to be a place that doesn't have one. I couldn't find one. And that's even talking with the rangers out there at the Sandia district. It's crazy.
And the thing is, I guess
that they did that without having a closure.
Yeah, and what did I told you when we first were talking about this, and I let you in on the inside, and I told you that some of the vets that worked that area before that were now retired or one of them had told me verbatim that up to 30 people had vanished up on that trail system in a single year with no sign of any of them. When I said, well, what did it come back as investigated? He said nothing because there's no sign of a crime. He said sometimes people want to disappear. Yeah. He told me we know that's not what happened.
A backpack, a cell phone, a piece of clothing, up there you get nothing. Nothing.
They're gone. And then, it was hellacious validation because here I am, you are Forest Service, you're a manager, 19-year veteran of the Forest Service, whatever. And here I am telling you this statistic that is hard to believe. Sounds like crazy conspiracy bullshit, right?
Until I used my resources, let's say, and got to the bottom of it, and then I'm like, hey, I'm full 100%. What's going on that mountain?
Right. And that's kind of what I want people to know is that's what the whole point. Okay, so there is a lodge up there. It's like a big giant beaver dam thing. And the whole point of this deal is to examine and get to that and to what we call the kill zone or the cleared area around it, which makes these little down trees I was showing in the pictures, basically makes those look like nothing.
Exactly. And I want to put out there, just because you use the word cleared and beaver lodges, it's not a prescribed burn, folks. Not up there at 8,000 to 10,000 feet. We don't prescribe burn in timber like that up there. And there's no record of that. And once we do have a prescribed burn, there's an order in place, and we'll know that prescribed burn is going to happen years before it takes place, believe it or not. Sometimes 6 months, but normally, like I know that, we're having a prescribed burn on the Mogollon Rim here in Arizona. I know that that's coming up mid-September up in the Sigrees, but I knew that last year.
Right.
You see how that is?
Yeah.
So, people's like, oh, Robert just ran across where they brought in the hot shots and they cleared the lands and they cleared the ground and they pushed it up into beaver dams and and they just do burn. That's not true. That's not true. That's not happening there. So we will find it. I know we'll find it.
And let alone, I think it's a wilderness area at that point where the area where we get into at that level. So people can say a lot of things, but there is no logging. There's no only thing they do is try to cut for access, and they play literal hell with that because these creatures keep tossing trees.
Bring a chainsaw in and cut 3 feet out of the trees and go across the trail so you can squeeze through them with a backpack. They're not clearing anything. No,
it's a hopeless fight, man. That's why the whole lower loop they just said screw it, and then that's one of the things too. He told me that the woodcutters wouldn't go back in there. They'd come out of there and teams say, fuck that, we're not going to go cut over there. And that's what, when we came across there's the blood trail deal, the kill zone, the video where it's the blood trail, that's an expressive too. People can look up the Kill Zone Lodge blood trail video. It's on our channel. Dig around, you'll find it real easy. But yeah, we find where somebody was obviously injured up there severely. We track them out, this and that. By the time we got off the mountain, we tried to report it to an off-duty USFS guy that was down there, and he did not want anything to do. Once he found out where it was, hell no, he don't. He tried to downplay it. He didn't care if there's people up there or not.
Yeah,
And
that
then-
was an encounter by a sentry or just a rogue alpha, and the rogue alpha either got him with a stick or hit him with a big old bowling ball sized rock,
Yeah.
from 50, 60 feet away. So,
Yeah.
we just don't know.
Right.
We just don't know, but that's speculation. But what else was it?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
What else was it? I mean, and I know. I mean, we're 95% sure. I think I'm a little bit more. I think I'm 98% sure.
Well, I tell you, if you had followed the tracks out and watched how that guy was bleeding out and shit. Hey, I want to get to a couple deals here. So, and since you're on the horn, it kind of fits what we're doing right now. And this is,
Sure.
I was kind of zipping back, trying to look through some of the. We've had an awful lot of feedback. I want to say thank you very much in the live chat. It's tremendous, but it does give a lot for me to dig through. So, but one of the things was Adman the Lab Rat. And he said, Robert, you had drone footage of all these down trees positioned like a funnel direct here traffic. Can you elaborate on that, please? And that is what we're kind of actually looking at in the picture I've got up right now, you guys. This is part of a funnel system, and the X kind of was at the back of it. And you could see where you can't even walk through. Even deer, it's a bitch to get through most of this stuff. But they had cleared kind of a path zone, and they had bordered it with these giganimous trees. So it's another expression of, wow, look how hard these trees are to move. They must be really important. No, they're not that hard to move because they're using them just to direct deer and to kill ambush spots. And I don't know if this is the spot you were talking about, Adman, but yeah, this is something that we do notice. And it just so happened where I picked a camp that day was in their ambush zone. It was behind their blinds they use when they ambush their deer, apparently.
Yeah, and you even extrapolated on that a little bit more when you got there. You was putting up more stuff so they couldn't get to your tent at night.
Oh, yeah.
You had a little bit more of a warning.
Yeah, so they had to knock something over before they could reach in and touch me.
Exactly.
I don't like to get touched, man. Oh, and I bought some new motion sensors, too. They're
nice. Yeah.
super
And,
cool.
Just so I don't, that guy, I'm not looking at the chat right now, but the gentleman that noticed that, I just want to let people know that just wasn't one tree that did not have a root ball hole.
No.
There was many trees that did not have a root ball hole. That's a phenomenon you just have to wrap your head around and say, wow, how is
Dozens.
that happening?
Right.
And it's just not one. I mean, one, you can say, okay, well, how did that thing get here? But, when you see 6, 7, 8 of them and they don't have the root ball hole, there's a problem.
Right.
Those things were carried in. They were carried in through some of that thick and dense forest. It's just amazing. And then the size of that X, your pictures don't do it justice. I wish we would have got a video of that. I don't know why we did.
I'll tell you why. And it was because there was a lot of energy. When we got to there, we unpacked and set up. There was just strange energy. We didn't choreograph. We didn't, you noticed that. It didn't really work out like a normal one kind of works out. But hey.
No, there was something going on. And, I don't want to go into that
Yeah, I
road
know.
because that's not me and I'm above that and I know you're above that.
Right.
That's water under the bridge. It's long gone. We'll never get it back, but we just won't go in that direction either.
Yeah, I'm down.
I know you put this lodge thing together really quick, and you're like, oh yeah, come on up. Oh yeah, come on up. And that shouldn't happen. We just must have bet better than.
Well,
what we
that and
did
I'll
on that.
and
I'm
I
going to say you because you betted me.
yeah, and I'm not going to do any bashing, but I am going to relate some of the stuff because people are curious and they do want to know, and they were deep in that and very confused why things went sour, and they don't understand.
Well, they will because we pretty much had a GoFundMe set up to help with the van and the gas and then to get equipment, and the there. Which was greatly appreciated. I didn't take any money. If those guys are listening that think that, I got one tank of gas that I didn't even put into my truck.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I didn't ask for $1, and I know you didn't ask for $1 either.
No, that's why when they pinched me for it, I just sent it all to them. It's like, all right, you want it?
Exactly.
And then it's like,
I know you did. I
yeah.
know for a fact you did.
Tell them,
So
yeah.
I don't even know where it went, and I never asked. I didn't care. That wasn't my concern. My concern was to get to the lodge and figure out, wow.
Well, and I do need to elaborate a little, and this is going to kind of come with an apology to you guys too, because you put your necks out, you did the deal and everything else, and I knew there was the potential of some bass backward stuff, and that's so. Duke in here, and we were already aware of this group and the dastardly crap, but everybody loved these guys, some of them. So I'm not going to go bashing people because everyone loves them, but on the backside, they were dirt, man. And so a couple of the guys that went were, or at least one of them was definitely a part of that scene. And so we had a feeling it was play one way or the other. It was either going to go sour, or he was going to about to see some of the craziest shit he'd ever seen, one or the other. You know what I mean? So, and I know Duke knows exactly who I'm talking about. He's in here right now, and there are points where I'm gonna elaborate and tell the truth, but probably won't be tonight.
At some point you have to, Robert. But you know what? Like I said, that's water under the bridge, man.
Yeah.
Let's just take the high road. Let's move forward. And let's get this thing launched, kill zone thing done, so the world can see it.
Yeah, and Duke just put up a deal in the chat. It says watch on Bigfoot Central. You can watch Expedition Sabotage Attempt Epic Fail, and that was we go over a lot of these details, and we still don't really run down the dirt on the real names and things, but over time I think people will know. But
let those guys go have their little fictitious fantasy Bigfoot land. They've never been in the woods. As far as I say, I'm like, what are you guys doing? You guys are the ones that are lagging behind. You can't carry anything. You're asking for help. What's going on?
Well, I do, and I didn't reflect probably till later, even till recently, that because I have to let go of a lot of the animosity and contempt I formed toward people that do that, right? I have to let go of a lot of that to understand more. And one of the things I almost became compassionate about is, they may have been experiencing a lot more fear than they let on.
Yeah, maybe
because
so.
Look at the stuff they were around, dude.
Yeah, when they seen how deep we were going in, we were up above the snow line there for a little while. We still had snow there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's crazy. It was fun.
Well, just like you said, when we're looking at these giant trees right where we camp, and we get a few voices in the background and this kind of stuff. It's like from my perspective, I've been around this stuff for years now, right? This is definitely not my first experience seeing it, but
exactly, yeah.
You just expressed the logic. The part that really hits people in the brain is the logic of it as you're looking at it. And like you said, these pictures cannot do any of this justice.
No, they don't do justice at all. That is just an amazing, amazing area. I think when we were in there, we seen one person.
Yeah, that chick ran down the trail early.
The first couple hours we were in there, and then it was done. We didn't see another person the rest of the days we were in there.
No, and you won't once you get back to that once you get back in that other side, which we barely touched on because, whatever.
Yeah,
the freaks want to do.
Everything went awry when you went off, basically went to look up on another trail, and then everything went bad, called for backup, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Backup/pickup, I think. They were still scared, so... it is what it is. We got some few footprints. I got to see some things that, justified what I was looking for, and I know that I'm going back. I won't go without you. It's really not my area, and I don't think I would ever go in there without you, to tell you the truth. We got another guy on the KX team, Boyd Omer, fantastic researcher.
Oh, he's awesome.
One of the best golden guys you'll ever know.
Yeah.
He knows that I have his back. I know that he'd always have my back. And as far as I know, that's the three that I know of. But I know when this expedition goes down here in the next couple of months, correct, Robert?
Yeah. Well, like we said, hopefully October, man. We're shooting for October. We were shooting for May. That had to get passed, so we're shooting for October. And if we're snowed in by then, I don't know how much good we're going to do as far as getting to where that is.
If it's snowed in, we're going to have to wait till spring until that thing gets thawed out a little bit.
I know. I've been in there on snowshoes before, but it's just like getting to it and then being able to.
Bike in the snow.
Yeah, I did do it on a mountain bike in the snow. That's on the Kill Zone Blood Trail video. Yeah, we went in on mountain bikes. That was pretty rugged. But we did that all in and out in one day with packs. So that was a. That was a.
Well, I don't know how long people are going to listen to you live. I can listen to you all night because you are fascinating and it's awesome. But let me sum up a few things real quick, and I'll get off here and let you finish your presentation. You and I are definitely collaborating on taking some people on expeditions to learn things. Let's get some feedback from the chat.
Okay. And
see what people are looking for. We're going to pick the areas. We're not going to let anybody pick their areas. We know our areas. I know that the areas that I have pretty good activity there. I know you have great activity. where you're at. I hope no one ever walks into a sleeping giant like you did. We don't want that to happen.
Yeah, it was scary.
So I'm going to touch back on the lodge a little bit, where we are shooting for October on that. As far as I know right now, unless Robert has done anything different, there's only 3 of us going. But I think you said you had a couple guys in mind that you were going to add.
Right.
And maybe look for a guy that actually wants to film the whole expedition from his perspective and see what we come up with.
Right.
I don't think we had enough film, even though we had a bunch of GoPros and everything else going.
No, I know. No, we didn't, and we obviously didn't.
Right.
Adman the Lab Rat asks you, Ron, what are you looking for? I'm not sure in what regards, but that's what he asked.
Well, what I'm looking for is I had a face-to-face when I was very, very, very young, and right now it almost seems like to me it's almost been so long ago. It's been 54 years now since I had that, but now it seems to me like it was a dream. And like I said, I'm not a believer, I'm a knower. I know that happened for a fact, without a doubt. It happened to my whole family, and everything happened to my brother and sister. We were all there in Oregon that summer. But, it's like gold. Once you get gold fever, it's kind of in your blood, and you just want to keep going until you find out who, what, when, where, why. Who are they? They're not, I guarantee you they're not an ape species or a monkey species or anything like that. They're a human relic of some sort. I don't know. It's really weird with me because I think I'm a little bit different from you, Robert. I think you and I have talked the evolution/creation thing for a while. My brother's a preacher, so I'm a creationist. That's just the way I was raised, with the Bible and everything. And I know that you, down the path that you took with all of your background in paleontology and, geology and everything, that you're more on the evolution side. So it kind of works out really good because you and I can corroborate without arguing. Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you, Robert? Even though I know you believe of a higher power. People like, do you believe in aliens? I was like, well, absolutely I believe in aliens. God's an alien. He's extraterrestrial. He's not on this planet. Bible says he's up there.
There you go, yeah. By definition, right?
Exactly. By definition. But, what I'd like to see, just some feedback, what the guys think. I want to touch on one more thing, and you're going to find this fascinating. This is pretty awesome. If you give me 2 minutes before I hang up.
Yeah, go, man.
I was just on a fire in California for 20 days, up in Northern California, the Shelley fire. It blew up on us pretty good, so I was up there 20 days doing security. Well, we got pretty big, and we had a couple of spike camps. We had a main camp, so security manager decided that he was going to call in a private security team other than using U.S. Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Forest Service, game wardens from all over the country to do security around camps, security camp, mountain security, and all that stuff. Well, he actually hired a private security company from Afghanistan. So me being me, because I like to throw out the Bigfoot stuff. You're going to love this. But I asked the guy where he's from, and guess what he tells me? I know you're going to say this. He's from Kandahar. So me being in the Air Force, right? And talking to this guy, and I'm like, and he spoke pretty good English. It was broken English, but it was really good English for what he had. And I'm asking him, have you ever heard of the Kandahar giant? And the answer I got was yes. We knew he was there before you did.
Really?
That's what I got from that guy. And he was mad because he said, you guys killed him. Because I told him I was in the Air Force, blah, 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 blah. And he was mad. He was like, you guys killed our giant. So there's another perspective to that whole story that isn't even let out. I got his name and his personal cell phone number, and he wants to talk about it. And I said, would you be willing to come on a podcast and talk about your side of the things, being from Afghanistan, being from the province of Kandahar? Would you be willing to come and talk? So that's something maybe in the future we could get him on there, and let's pick his brain a little bit. Me being the Air Force guy back then, him being the Kandahar guy, we're all into that big kind of cryptid stuff. A lot of people said it didn't happen, but, I believe it did happen just because of the research that I've done on it, with the Loadmaster and the people that actually put it into the plane and the whole thing. It's just, it's 99.9% factual, So then you get, no one asked the Afghanistan guys. Well, they knew he was there before we did.
Right, exactly.
So that's pretty streaming stuff, so maybe we can get him to talk on your show live. Would be really good too.
That'd be wild, dude. That would be
wouldn't
wild.
That be fun just to ask him questions?
Yeah.
You know,
unbelievable.
How did you know? What are your stories?
Yeah, that would be unbelievable. Hey, I want to mention to people, so I want somebody to do something so I could see if it works. If there's someone watching, period, who is not subscribed, period. I'm not trying to do this to get subscribers. I want to see it work. Hit the subscribe button. Even maybe somebody who's already subscribed can.
I got to keep subscribing, Robert. I got to keep subscribing.
You do?
Yes, I keep subscribing all the time. YouTube is kicking me out for some reason, and I don't know why they do that.
Oh, no, it does. They kick all of our subscribers off for some. I guess once you watch us, you're not YouTube worthy anymore.
Run yourself a little test and get 2 or 3 people to subscribe and watch how long it takes them to kick them off. 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, right. No, I wanted to see if I wanted to see what showed up on the screen actually. So,
right,
like I said, I can hit that. Oh, I made a noise that time. I'm going to take this off of here for a second. So, yeah, what it should look like is that to people, new subscriber. But I don't know if any of this works. So, I want to get people to try to interact with the Streamlabs side of this thing. So, if anybody out there will please go in right there, right in the description right there. It says live stream support. And click on that, and it should throw you up some options to do something. And that will tell me if you do anything on there. But also just on YouTube, if you hit the subscribe button, supposedly it's supposed to come up and interface with YouTube and put it on the screen. And I have no clue if that works or not.
Yeah, give it a shot. All right, well, let me finish up real quick, and I'll get off of here. I just want to let all the people that are still left in the chat and watching you live. It's been a blessing to actually cross paths with Mr. Kreider. He is the real deal, and I'm not saying that because he's my friend now. I've been out, like I said, with a lot of researchers, and some of them aren't the real deal. Some of them are in it to make a buck. Robert's in it because, 1, for the love of it, or 2, he wants to generally find out also what's going on here, not only with the cryptids, but with his knowledge of ancient civilizations will blow you guys away when he gets into that. Amazing stuff. So anyway, Robert, thank you for letting me call in. I appreciate it. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. All the guys out there listening, hey, give us feedback on what you think about going out with Robert and I and, doing some squatching in the woods. You know, some people don't like to call it that, but we call it researching more, but some people call it squatching. You know, I get calls all the time for people wanting me to take them out, and it just, I don't want to do it without, maybe you and I collaborating and really putting something fantastic together that's going to make memories for people forever. Does that make sense to you, Robert?
Yeah, it makes absolute sense. And I appreciate all the kind words, Ron. I really, really do.
No, it's not, it's all true. I wouldn't say that, if you were an asshole, I'd tell you, or you know me. I'm pretty much straightforward and even keel. And if you were, I'd say, I ain't going to deal with that guy anymore.
Nice.
But, I was up there and, we chewed some of the same ground on that mountain for a couple of days, and I seen what happened. And I tell you, it was bad. But on the other side of the coin, we're going to go up there, we're going to conquer that dang lodge, and people are going to get to see it. And it's going to be kind of cool. And you're I would say borderline genius, if not genius. I know your IQ is way up there. I know it's higher than mine. I mean, you invent things that people haven't even seen. Which is kind of cool, and you just, you're that way, which is really cool. But, people, Robert Kreider is the real deal. If you need him to speak at anywhere, give him a call. The guy's awesome. He's amazing. And his Bigfoot stuff, he got into that by accident. I mean, this guy is a treasure hunter. That is what he does. He's looking for treasure. He's looking for the golden thimble out there that he can retire, and then he can really go look for Bigfoot. And I understand that. So anyway, with Robert, thank you very much for letting me call in. I appreciate it, brother, and I'll be in the chat for a little while, then I got to hit the hay.
Okay, man. It's been awesome talking to you, Ron. We'll chat soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll go on live again about the expedition when we get closer.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I've been thinking a lot about it. I just haven't had time trying to get everything else together. But, yeah, I appreciate it.
We're living our lives, man. That's what we got to do.
I got it. Thanks, bro.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, how cool is that, man? Ron, what an amazing guy. Something just came across. What is it? New subscriber. Adam the Lab Rat. It works. Yay. Thanks, Adam. That was badass. I don't know if you had to unsubscribe and resubscribe, but we know that works now. Cool. All right. Links I work, donate, hat, merch, etc. Excellent. Fucking awesome. Dude, awesome. Yeah, because this is a big deal, and it's really just me. And to be honest with you, in all honesty, it's like the brain is this big, right? And you have this much room for shit. And it also goes with time. It's like start counting, count 1 to 1,000,000, and then continually counting, don't stop. Tell me how much time you have to think about other things during the day. So it's kind of like there is a limited amount of time you can occupy your brain. You can. What I'm saying is, so to use these systems, they either want you to become just dedicated to this and that's it, or whatever. Because being a field guy and trying to do all the research and high end everything else and inventing crap and then trying to feed the family and doing everything else, it's really difficult to learn enough of these systems without being just a full-blown content creator, podcaster, and that's what you do every day, all day. It's amazing what you can pull off. But just like you saw earlier, I did a full testing on the phone audio coming out, but for some reason when it's a phone call, it won't let you hear that audio outside. So we'll try to get over that. But what I'm saying is, so just working these systems around, getting all this stuff fired up to work is not really my bag of tea. I have to learn and change my mind, in a sense. I have to develop an entirely new way of thinking to do all this crap. So we really trying to bring you guys the top of the top. I mean, I want to push it as hard as possible. We want this to be in the field. Something I was going to bring up this evening was our lab. It's called the Space Monkey, and I don't know, maybe I got pictures of it in here or not. Let's see. You know, I really got to somehow get a bunch of crap in this computer so I can show people what the hell I'm talking about when I'm bringing it up. But the Space Monkey is a 52-foot semi-trailer that was built by Sandia National Laboratories, nuclear research and all that stuff, right? Where they, disengineer UFOs, whatnot. So it was built, I believe, for laser research, tracking, and all that kind of crap. But it's a big mobile laboratory made of siliconized aluminum. It's thermally insulated, electromagnetically shielded, the whole 9 yards. Probably cost $2 million to build this thing. It has a transformer in the floor. It'll hook direct to 480 off the power lines. It's got, it's been fully retrofitted as a field laboratory for KX. And that thing is sitting about 200 miles from here, and it needs to come home. And I do not have the resources to bring it home. If anyone is out there or anyone watches this or sees this, please reach out to us if you think you can do something. Anybody that's got a link to Diesel Dave, hell, maybe one of those guys will step up and go, hey, man, yeah, we'll drag that thing over there for you. But we need that lab. And if we had that, we could be utilizing that resource to bring you guys way better content. What our hopes is to bring everything full-blown from the field locations anywhere we go and take that live straight up to you guys where you can watch this shit as it happens. Field personnel, camp, in the mobile laboratory, the whole 9 yards, and multi-stream all this stuff. And that's really what we want to get to. With the types of throttling and the crap we fight every day, man, it's beyond it. Same thing as like selling merch. People buy merch. We rarely ever sell anything. I mean, anything. And everyone, I think, assumes that, oh, he's probably got guys buying T-shirts and all this stuff. And if I could just break even just on the internet, plural, that we've got up there and all this. So we just had a new subscriber. Awesome. Great to see. Perfect. So if we just had could break even on the expenses, would be ballsy, man, because really it's like there's people that have a lot within their means that do these kind of things, and they spend a small percentage. And really this is first and foremost, and has been my entire life. And like Terry and the kids are so unbelievably understanding to that fact that this is what we do as a priority. It's first and foremost. So everything else is just to cover life. And so this is all basically coming out of our pockets, and it makes up a big percentage. It makes up 50 to 70% every dime I make goes back into this. And then so you could say someone who's got a lot more resources, how much they're investing as a percentage of their time and investing as a percentage of their money and income. And most of them probably aren't that high. So I don't feel bad trying to reach out, and support somehow. I rarely ask for any type of donations or whatever. I'd much rather try to do a product exchange or whatever that I can bring to the table. But I also understand that the people that donate are covering all those people who don't, to bring this stuff to the table, to bring it to the populace. So I just want to say I appreciate those people more than you could ever imagine. And I think everyone here owes an effort of gratitude toward these people who step up and provide this. Because if the ones that we're doing it right now, if the 13 people we have right now weren't helping out on Patreon, we wouldn't be able to continue this. We would not be able to. Times are getting too tight. And for a self-employed mechanic and entrepreneur, I'm an artist and things like that, a heavy equipment operator, whatever. It's either dedicate all my time. The jobs I usually have don't let you have any time off. Be the movie industry, 7 days a week. Heavy equipment operator, so it's 6 to 7 days a week. So the type of things I do if I go jump in as a career, even mechanic, these things take 100% of time. So how would I facilitate everything else? And like Ron says, I do happen to know a lot. I happen to be given with the divine gift of gift of gab. And I might have to stop a cat fight. Hey, quit that. Black cat, knock it off. So, but regardless, what I'm saying is that I don't feel bad necessarily for trying to ask for help to do all this, because I'm putting out an awful lot to get it done. And I sure hope and that you guys are happy with what I'm putting out on the table, the gear, the equipment. I think if you look back at our streams in the past, you're going to see that we have elevated. The quality's gone up, audio's gone up, visual's gone up, everything's gone up. But I'm trying to do that at the same time as bring all the rest of life together and get out in the field and get the stuff going. Some of the treasure hunting deal, it has a lot to do with that, because if I can pull something, which is very difficult, landowners mainly are the hardest thing to ever get to cooperate fully. And usually once they know something's there, they're either too scared to go get it, a weird irrational fear overtakes them or whatever. And I'm not going to down anybody, but what I'm saying is, like, right now we have very cooperative landowners. I got to give them a shout out. I don't really want to drop the name because then everyone knows what's up, but most amazing people in the world. And there's so much we would not have without them. And to have open access to what their properties and things, to be able to bring these things to light, is tremendous. And I just want to say thank you to them for doing that. But like I said, if you guys can help out any way you can help out, buy some merch, do whatever, donate. However, if anybody has a friend with a hauling company that could haul a semi, or anyone has the resources to be able to step up and help out getting the Space Monkey home or whatever, be awesome. I mean, reach out to us. It'd be tremendous. Other than that, I'm going to read through some of this stuff. I don't think I have to stop the cat fight. So I'll read through some here. We'll address what's in the live chat. I know a lot of this may not be too exciting for everybody. I could throw some cool stuff up. Let's do this real quick. Here's an ancient tool you'll never see anywhere in the world but here. And because no one's ever found anything like this but here. But this was made by a priest in a forge over by Madrid, New Mexico, at a secret recovery site. And it's a chisel. It was made with a massive stamp forge. It wasn't made by hand at all. It has a dual tip that I don't know if anybody's ever seen one before, but it acts almost like a tuning fork. And it's made out of a really exotic steel, and it's going to push 400 years old. Very, very cool. But I know you guys might be a little bored off and on, and we try to keep these things exciting. I'm going to be redoing more of these streams over time. So as it shows, you guys are going to get to see a lot more that no one's ever seen before. This is the only way I have to really bring it to the public. These are more tools from a major treasure recovery site. This happens to be part of what is the largest collection of Spanish colonial mining tools on Earth that we're aware of. So pretty cool stuff. But yeah, you guys will get to see a lot. So anyway, I'm going to read through here, and I'll see what we got. Land of the Captar. Yeah, Duke, no doubt. Captar is one of my favorite names. Just a cool name, Captar. Isn't that cool? I mean, unbelievable. Oh, yeah. You say, amazingly, I was already unsubscribed, and you're usually not. I know, isn't it crazy? Can you imagine? We'd probably be pushing 200,000, 300,000, 500,000 subscribers right now if they didn't remove 18 out of every 20 or more. Like you said, the one guy 14 times, the other guy 15 times have been removed. Oh, thank you, Cryptic Crystal. 100% agree with Fine Mr. Kreider, an absolute gem of researcher. Always look forward to KX videos. Man, thank you very much. Thank you guys for hanging out, because that's what I wanted. It's just kind of informal. You guys here, me here, hanging out in the room. whatever, and hope I could bring some exciting stuff. Anybody wants to see anything particular, hit me in the chat, whatever. I'll dig it out. We'll dig it out right now. Rangers filming says, okay. So yeah, Adam Labrap, 9,930 subscribers right now. Yep. And it's funny because it's hilarious to watch the metrics. You can actually see how they throttle it. It's crazy. Some of the recent videos we've had have had upward arcs. Instead of being an arc like this, which is normal, the arcs actually were scaling like this. That's a viral. And then they'd knock it and it'd scale again, and they'd knock it and it'd scale again until they can get their curve and keep the viewing within a certain stats. Yeah, you guys become, like Ron says in the chat, become patron, member, whatever. I guess we might start to go ahead and wrap this one pretty soon. I have no idea how long they go. I never do when I do these live streams. They go on forever. If you guys want to see anything in particular that you've heard of in the past, or anything, I've got a lot of pictures available. This is a unique one. This is, like I said, 90 feet deep here on a rope, scanning with a geomagnetic scanning machine. And you can see the bisected tunnel filled up next to me there. That's one of our digs. So, we're talking digs, it's like I put this picture up a minute ago. They're not digging with a shovel and a pick. This is the stuff we use right here, generally when we're doing projects. So people don't know me, even the people around me, even here locally, the people I know very, very well have no clue and have never had a clue that we did work and excavation at this level. Like, never. They don't even see me that way. Like, they wouldn't even get it. Like this here, I'm holding a 400-pound rock bar. And there is a lot of what you'd say clairvoyance in this stuff. So this particular day, I ran around telling everybody I'm going to find a rock bar today. I'm going to find a rock bar today. I'm going to find a rock bar today. And the interesting thing about the rock bar wasn't the artifact itself, but where it was positioned. And if I had a picture in this file, I'd show you. These are just a kind of a quick reference desktop file I've got. But this rock bar in particular is really wild. It's made laminated like a Japanese sword. It's 10 to 15% heavier than modern steel. There's no degradation internally. It's covered with crystals of red oxide that are actually crystals. Really beautiful, weird stuff. It was hidden for 320 something years by an optical illusion under a cliff. And this day I just told everybody, I'm going to find a rock bar. I'm going to find a rock bar today. I'm going to find a rock bar today. And then I went down off the cliff I'm sitting on right there. And it's like I got about 15 down. You can see the talus slope down there on the bottom there. And I jumped down there and I got about 15 feet down that talus slope. And man, I hit the brakes. It's like something just grabbed me. And it's actually like somebody hit me in the back of the head. I didn't feel being hit in the back head. It's not like that, but it is that. It's what it would mentally feel like to get hit in the back of the head and someone to say, turn around and look up, asshole. But literally with the asshole and all. I didn't hear the words, but that feeling, that whole aspect of feeling you have when someone says that, I had that. And I turned around and looked up, and there was a dark mineral vein, and this thing was lined right in front of it, stuck in a hole. And so you couldn't see it. It was the mineral vein. It just blended in. And I had to take a triple take. And I went, no way. And it actually pulled a rock bar out. Now, it may sound like, that's cool, whatever. No, it's more than cool. Like, really more than cool. And it just so happened it did the very same thing with the 35 karat cut gemstone. It's actually probably in this file. I could show you. But did the same thing. Went in there that day. I went in there to get a gemstone. Wow, I can't believe it's not sitting right here. And anyway, and came out at the end of the day with a 35 karat cut gemstone. So it happens. And I'm not saying anything other than the fact that I went in there and came out with it. So pretty crazy stuff. But anyway, I guess we could kind of push this and see what we got going on here. Says, you remember? Oh, yeah. Oh, you guys have been busy. Okay, so it says, I ain't heard anything really drum. The Robin Ron show. That's hilarious, my love, Tara May. That is hilarious. Ron show. Hey man, I'm down. I love Ron. So I'm totally down. Okay, and then Adam Labrat's commenting said negative does not hear a soundtrack. It's because I turned it down. I found it and turned it off. This is no one wants to be part of a cluster. No doubt. No shame, safety, y'all. And Luke says, I remember local news was all over it and you shut you guys down quickly after that. Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, I mean, the local news, we had a state senator who proposed law to stop our research. We had the executive director of University of New Mexico Gallup being brought up on charges for fraud. What more can you possibly want, And that was over stuff when they declared there's absolutely no evidence. Well, this was from that study, and that's not deer hair, people. That right there is real hair from a real Bigfoot. People watched deposit it. We tracked them out and collected it. It's This was part of the Oxford study that they lied about, actually. No. This was part of the UNM study that the wonderful Dr. Meldrum lost all the DNA evidence. I still have some, but he lost what we submitted. Just so happened to. This is a cool picture of what the hair looks like under high magnification. Well, medium magnification. I'll show you how much we can magnify in-house here in a minute. But this is our lower scope, and you can see the hair is translucent, and it has small dots of pigment in it. And this is the same hair. I just have it curled around. So the tan part is the base and the black goes toward the tip. And what you'll see is the base is thinner than the tip. It broadens out, comes to a taper, and then goes to a point. And the color we see here is actually a type of purple. So we have a translucent hollow shaft hair, pigmented, like it could even be, people have said as these chromatophores, could they change color? Now, how wild would that be? But if not, still we have a semi-translucent hair, lighter colored at the base, darker at the shaft. That's one of the reasons these things are so damn hard to see. Let me kill some of these pictures. I hope that showed up. So this is actually a high magnification. We can do this in-house. I can even go way higher than this, believe it or not. We can look at cell structure in-house in the lab. We have the microscopes to do this. But this is the scale pattern on the hair shaft itself. And this is one way you can identify the biology of individual species is by looking at these individual scales, because every species has a different scale pattern. So I don't know if you guys ever saw anything like that before, but okay, cool. And then these are pictures of the big female when I got her. She has a small, she's carrying George, who's about 7 foot at this time. Her foot's 20 inches. And so she's actually, like I said, carrying George in this picture. I need to make a new circle. I really don't like this one. But George's arm is right there, and his head's peeking around her head, and his other arm's right there around her back. And when we spotted her, let's see if I have a shot. I probably don't have any other pictures here. But when I spotted her anyway, she picked him up and turned around to take off, and that's when I got her shots. So. But let's see what else we got going on here. Third, that synergetic relationship with Robert and Ron. It's like learning two old friends chat over a cup of coffee. Yeah, thanks you guys. I know I'm way back in the comments, but I gotta try to catch up here. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Would love the parabolic, but it is out of my price range. Just single mom at 3. Man, sorry, Cryptic Crystal. I am sorry about that. If I get returns or anything like that, you hit me up because, maybe I can do something potentially about, getting something in your hands. But, and I tried to, people tell me, I don't know why he doesn't charge more. He could charge 3 times that for him. And I know we could, and I try to sell them as reasonable as possible. Sorry for that. The electronics are awful expensive, so as to have a lot of the parts made. So it just is what it is. Woven trees. Ron, about the lab coming home, man. Thanks for that, buddy. That'd be unfreaking believable. That would be really, really outrageous. Awesome. I've dreamed of getting that thing back here because it's set up. I can be doing all these streams from the inside of the lab and be bringing some really cool stuff. I don't know what else you guys want to see or who else even, how many people we even have left in here anyway. At 24 people watching. Thanks you guys for hanging out. 24 very, very dedicated individuals you are. Looking for something, maybe something very special I can show. This is pretty cool. So this is a standard heart monument and a mushroom. Just make those out. Pretty cool stuff. This is I'm just seeing files, so I might as well go for them. This is a monument of a desert tortoise. And then way up above, the number 2 is a placed overhang monument with an entrance notch showing you the direction to a hidden mine up in the mountains in northern New Mexico. Here is what can only be described as a Templar map here in New Mexico. I know where this cache is. This is part of the giant chambers. Like I said, some of them are several thousand square feet in size. This is one of the maps that leads to it. These are a lot of things that just no one's seen. If they had, it had been maybe 20 years ago when they saw them. So you guys get to kind of take advantage of these moments. And now I'm just kind of rambling on. We're just keeping things rocking, seeing what's up. Oh, no, thank you for Adam Labrat says, thank you for hanging out with us, Robert. No, thank you guys. It's you guys that make all this. It's the only reason I do any of this crap. I mean, I know all this stuff. I already saw all this stuff. I've already been here and I've done all this crap. Like you want to see probably the earliest bolts in the world, like probably the first bolts ever created, like literally, these are them. And what you'll notice is you couldn't put the same wrench on any of these. And look at this one here, the round one here. These aren't made to fit any type. These are diamond shaped, and no two are the same size. No two are alike. And that's because they were all handmade, hand filed. This is ancient Spanish. All this stuff is pre-revolt. And so, these bolts, nuts and bolts are going to predate what we recognize as the earliest types of nuts and bolts, all found in the site. So, it's just a lot of cool enigmatic stuff that we're going to be popping off over time, and a lot of random shit. So there's so much I have. I mean, everything I'm showing you represents nothing. I have terabytes of this crap. So, and it all needs to get out to somebody at some time. But anyway, I'm going to say thank you guys tremendously for hanging out with me and letting me do this evening. I'm going to really encourage anybody that can to please head over, pick up some merch. We got a lot of plans and a lot of stuff we want to get done, and it's going to take resources to do it. The hat, I guarantee it's off for now. If you want to try to get one of these Crider Exploration hats, the History We Dig It old school logo hat, hit me up on the back side. I'm going to put my email, which is the word explore, then underscore it, then underscore all at hotmail.com. I'll write it in our chat right now. You guys can reach out to me for anything in the world. If you want one of these hats or anything that's not available anymore, hit me up and I will try to make that happen for you. As people say, make sure, please, would you go share the content from this channel? Whatever you like, that's going to be the only way we really break algorithms and really get things out. Please, please, please go share this channel. If you're check your subscriptions. If you're unsubscribed or unsubscribe tomorrow or whatever, keep resubscribing. Encourage other people to subscribe. Please hit the like button before you leave, because if you like this at all, just did it. Because these are the things that bust the algorithm. So many people just go, oh yeah, here we're here, and yeah, here we're gone, and oh yeah, you're really helping and you're trying and everything, and too bad. They don't realize they can change it. All they gotta do is hit the like button. It overrides the throttling. It overrides it. They send me letters about, we don't know why you're getting so many likes, like it's a problem when people do it. So do that. Like, subscribe, hit your notifications. Follow us up on Streamlabs. We're up on Rumble. We'll be doing some crazy shit over there eventually that we can't do on YouTube. So link up with us on Rumble. We've got a locals community over there. You can support us there. I really encourage you jumping on to Patreon. There's a free member side. I do drop stuff there that you're not going to see anywhere else, even for the free members occasionally. But I really encourage you sign up for the cheapest tier, whatever you got to do. And we actually have an angel investor tier that will come with NDNC and full contracts once the deposit's made, and that's $5,000. And that is for people that want to literally invest in a treasure return on one of these digs. So cool. happy everybody. Thanks for being here, man. This has been tremendous. I'm surprised we didn't have more cat visits. That's really, really wild. And I guess I'm going to go ahead and start calling this thing a night. And if you guys got anything else you want to see, anything else you want to hear, this is your chance to do her. Or we're going to be calling it. Here's my email now. It's going out in the chat. So if you had it, if not, I could also put it down in the description. We'll get that zipped in there. So cool. Yeah. Adam Ladrup. Yeah. They look like a bunch of fancy railroad spikes, and that's exactly what they are. They came from deck. They're a type of a spike that's used for deck planking. But yeah, a bigger version of that is exactly what was adopted for railroad longer on. That came from the early mines is where that came from. It was using the deck spiking to hold early track. So, okay, man. Anybody wants to join us up, like I said, get a hold of me. You can even reach out to Ron Castner on Facebook, Ranger Ron, part of KX. You reach out to him, whatever. We're going to get some trips set up. And I encourage everybody just to follow us along, man. Here we go. And like I said, share. Please share the content anywhere on social platforms, anywhere you can. Try to get more traffic here. So I've got I'll tell you, the reason they throttle is to change the person that's posting. It is to change their motivation. It is to demoralize them, just like in a war zone, to where you lose the motivation to get out there, do the work, and do everything it takes. And I don't even like being on camera. So the whole thing about putting it out there, putting myself out there, and all my flaws and my foes and faux pas and all this crap they try to hide from people that's going to show, all that stuff I have to lay myself on the line for. It makes it worth doing. And they throttle because they know if I don't think people see this, it's not going to be worth doing for me. So just continue. Please help shit the shit out there everywhere. Okay, you guys, really calling it a night now. I really appreciate it. I'm going to get back into my deal here. And like I said, hit those links, man. Go down, get yourself a hat, go down and get some merch, share, like, subscribe, and I am out of here. Thank you for everything you guys have done. Thank you.